Chapter 26-29. First place in the deity group? You've become a deity and won first place in the deity group? Sikong Chiyu asked in disbelief after hearing Night Sorrow's words. Yes. I'm a mid-level deity now. Night Sorrow explained with a smile. He greeted Jingyin and asked, Where are the others? The others are cultivating in the Space Dharma artifact. Ever since you left, everyone has been cultivating very hard. I think that in the near future, the entire Night Moon clan will break through to the deity realm. Sikong Chiyu smiled and said, You and Jingyin can chat first. I'll call the others out. With that, she happily went into the Space Dharma artifact to look for the others. Night Sorrow had led the Tianyin school to such a good result in the 7-sect tournament. As his wife, she felt proud. Otherwise, she would feel guilty if she continued to eat and use the Tianyin school's food. Night Sorrow, congratulations on becoming a deity. You should be much stronger than me now, right? Jingyin, who was already a low-level divine lord, smiled and congratulated him. At this moment, she couldn't see through Night Sorrow's aura. It felt like a mysterious veil was covering him. I'm not sure, but we'll never be on the opposite side. There's no need to worry about this. Night Sorrow smiled and replied. Also, I've obtained a very good opportunity. I'll bring the two of you when I welcome a relative back. What opportunity? Jingyin asked curiously. In fact, she had been with Night Sorrow's family for so many days. Jingyin, whose clan had been destroyed, was envious of Night Sorrow's peaceful life with his family. She wasn't interested in opportunities. I'll keep you in suspense, but it's definitely an opportunity that will tempt you. Night Sorrow explained with a smile. He was afraid that saying it would make Jingyin's Dao heart unstable. Not everyone could face the dojo left behind by a sovereign with peace of mind. Haha, an opportunity that tempts me? Are you sure? Jingyin looked into Night Sorrow's eyes and asked with a smile. Her words were obviously mixed with a complicated meaning. However, Night Sorrow didn't notice any of this. He replied with certainty. This opportunity will tempt anyone in the God realm. However, it will only belong to you and that relative of mine. Night Sorrow then told Jingyin about Wuling concubine. Jingyin, who had already heard of the story of the dancing spirit concubine, heard it from Night Sorrow himself, and her eyes were instantly filled with tears. Weeping Beauty said, Night Sorrow, you must not disappoint Auntie Faye. No matter how big the matter is, you must save her first before doing it. Yes, I will consider this matter carefully. Night Sorrow nodded and explained. Currently, Senior Tianqing is helping me contact this matter. I'm waiting for her news. As long as there is news from her side, even if it's a big matter, I will postpone it. To Night Sorrow, saving Wuling concubine was even more important than protecting the God realm. He naturally wouldn't delay it because of anything else. Yes, Night Sorrow, you are a person who values relationships. I believe you will not let down anyone around you. Jingyin smiled and looked at Night Sorrow's wife and daughter who were walking over. She said, You can catch up with your family. I have already joined Tianyin school and have become a divine king seed. I have my own cultivation mountain. Congratulations then. I'll visit you some other day. Night Sorrow said politely and walked towards Lin Piaomiao, who had walked out first. He asked, Sister Xian'er, how do you feel? Are there any abnormalities after your recovery? There's nothing wrong with my body. Furthermore, I seem to be very suitable for cultivation in the God realm. Lin Piaomiao smiled and said, I am already a middle-level feather god, and my cultivation is very solid. Your cultivation is indeed very solid. Night Sorrow used the eye of the sea serpent to observe Lin Piaomiao, and found that her cultivation was indeed very solid. The density of her aura was almost on par with his at the same time. After thinking for a while, he asked doubtfully, Sister Xian'er, could it be that some hidden bloodline in you has been awakened? Logically speaking, although your cultivation talent is very good, there is still a certain gap between you and me. Why does it seem that you are about the same as me at the same time? When they were in the celestial realm, Night Sorrow had already surpassed Lin Piaomiao. Now he found that her talent had actually changed. This kind of joyous change made him somewhat unable to understand. I'm not sure either. Why don't you help me check my bloodline? Lin Piaomiao said with a smile. Alright. Let's go check now. For things like bloodlines, suddenly awakening was definitely a good thing. But sometimes it was accompanied by some danger. Night Sorrow exchanged some pleasantries with the other family members, and walked into the room with Lin Piao to check her bloodline. After checking carefully, Night Sorrow said in surprise, Sister Xian, if I didn't guess wrongly, you might be the descendant of a supreme being. What? Descendant of a supreme being? Hearing this, Lin Piao was obviously stunned. Yes. I just came into contact with a supreme being. The bloodline aura in your body is very similar to that supreme being's aura. Night Sorrow said. Lin Piao's newly awakened bloodline obviously contained the aura of a supreme being. This made him very surprised. Supreme being. A supreme being that is even stronger than a ruler? Lin Piao asked in disbelief. In the current divine world, the strongest were the 7 rulers. Her bloodline might actually come from a supreme being that was even stronger than a ruler. Even though Lin Piao was very knowledgeable and mentally strong, she was still stunned. If it was in the past, I wouldn't be sure what bloodline Sister Xian had awakened. But I just came into contact with a supreme being, and I know very well what this aura means. Night Sorrow said and slowly told Lin Piao all the information he got from Ancestor Phoenix. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Lin Piao was stunned for a moment. Then she said with determination, Husband, no matter what, our family will shoulder the future responsibilities together. I'm not afraid of shouldering the entire divine world. I'm just afraid that I won't have time to accompany you. Lin Piao's words warmed Night Sorrow's heart. He softly expressed his worries. If there were no accidents, after he advanced to the Divine King realm, he would disappear for a very long time. Actually, it's fine. Your family naturally wants to be by your side, but they definitely won't be a burden to you. Moreover, there is no time in the divine world. Everyone's lifespan is endless. Even if you spend more time doing other things, there will be a day when you can spend more time with your family. Lin Piao said gently. Hearing Sister Xian's words, my mood is much better. Night Sorrow's face revealed a trace of determination. He said, Sister Xian, don't worry. If there is a day when I leave, I will create a pure land for my family in advance. A pure land that no one dares to invade. It is the same kind of existence as a ruler's territory. Sister Xian believes in you. Lin Piao smiled and said, let's go out. They should have prepared a banquet. After the banquet, there are still some things waiting for you. What things? Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. Chapter 26:30. I'm not sure. Sister Xian, what's the matter? Night Sorrow chased out of the room and asked. He had participated in the 7-sect tournament and hadn't returned for a long time. Naturally, he didn't know what his wives were planning. Lin Piao didn't reveal anything and said, you will know after the banquet. This. Alright then. Night Sorrow nodded and said, let's not talk about this anymore. Sister Xian's bloodline must be kept a secret. Even if the sovereigns knew about your bloodline, they might not be able to resist the urge to snatch it away. With our current strength, we can't stop the sovereigns from coveting it. I'm preparing to learn a secret technique to hide my bloodline, but I don't know where to get it. Lin Piao said. There were many secret techniques to hide one's bloodline, but there were very few that could hide the sovereign bloodline. That's a problem. I'll ask Deputy Sect Leader Yuan tomorrow. Night Sorrow said, and went to the bamboo forest to prepare the banquet with Lin Piao. Sikong Chiyu, Yang Lei Aoi Shueshi and Datura were all busy. The few girls who had different personalities were now enjoying the atmosphere. They were all talking and laughing. As for Night Sorrow's children, most of them had already chosen to enter the realm of the gods to train. They knew that if they continued to rely on their father, they would become dependent on him, and it would be detrimental to their growth. 13. Not long after you left, Deputy Sect Leader Yuan moved out this mountain and gave it to us. Now it's called Night Moon Mountain. Seeing Night Sorrow's arrival, Yang Lei said happily. In the world of cultivators, people rarely gathered together. A banquet like this was rarely held. Deputy Sect Leader Yuan is generous, but it's not good for us to take over his place like this. Under Yang Lei's lead, Night Sorrow sat on a bamboo chair and enjoyed the tea that had just been poured. There's nothing bad about it. Vice Headmaster Yuan has been increasing his strength recently. It is said that he is preparing to become the acting headmaster, and in the situation of the Tianyan school. Yang Lei continued. So Vice Sect Leader Yuan has already moved to the main peak. This is a good thing. Now is an opportunity. Night Sorrow took a sip of tea and agreed with Yuan Tianji's approach. The disappearance of Tianyan School's overlord meant that someone else had to replace him. Now that Ho Jun's faction had basically been eliminated, it was a better choice for Yuan Tianji to become the acting overlord at this time. Even though the matter has already been decided, Vice Sect Head Yuan said that if one's strength isn't sufficient, he won't be the sect head. We still have to wait for a while. Yang Lei explained. She then smiled and said, Little 13, the banquet is over. There's something waiting for you. Are you ready? What is it? Night Sorrow almost spat out a mouthful of tea when he heard this. Lin Piaomiao said mysteriously. Now that it was Yang Lei's turn to say it, he had an ominous feeling. You'll know when the time comes. Sikong Chiyu, who happened to pass by, said with a smile. Anyway, it's a good thing. All right. A good thing. A good thing. Night Sorrow replied with a guilty conscience. Sikong Chiyu and Yang Lei laughed. Not long after, the few girls prepared a family banquet and invited most of the members of the Night Moon dynasty. Night Sorrow, who was drinking tea, stood up immediately when he saw his grandfather, Yi Linghuan. He asked, Grandpa, how are you feeling? Night Sorrow was very concerned about Yi Linghuan's recovery after his energy center was destroyed by Ling Yun previously. It's nothing serious, but I still feel a little indignant when I think about what happened back then. Yi Linghuan sat on the chair with a good complexion. He took a sip of tea and asked, When do you plan to bring back your Auntie Fei? In the plan, as long as Senior Tianqing sends news, I'll go and rescue Auntie Fei immediately, Night Sorrow replied. No. What you're doing is wrong. Yi Linghuan tapped the table and said, Your Auntie Fei was severely injured while trying to save you. Her abduction is directly related to you. Your current strength has long surpassed Ling Yun's strength back then. This matter can't wait any longer. The men of the Yi family have an indomitable spirit. Rescuing your Auntie Fei has to be the top priority. Grandpa is right. It's Night Sorrow's fault. Night Sorrow bowed to his grandfather. He felt that the other party was right. He didn't do enough to rescue Auntie Fei. It's great that you can correct your mistakes. Yi Linghuan nodded and said, I'll remember this well. Also, after the banquet, there's something for you to deal with. Grandpa, what are you talking about? Hearing this, Yi Shang asked with a speechless expression. Good. Do you think we'll harm you? Yi Linghuan snorted coldly. All right, I won't ask. After being mocked, Yi Shang shook his head and left with a smile. When most of the people from the Yi family arrived, he began to drink with everyone. Although the Night Moon dynasty hadn't been in the God realm for long, their strength had increased by leaps and bounds. Now there were many feather gods. Even Night Sorrow's parents were half-step feather gods. This kind of increase in strength was incomparable in the lower realms. Seeing the rapid growth of his clansmen, Night Sorrow was in a good mood and drank a lot of wine. After the banquet, he felt a little tipsy. This was a feeling he hadn't felt in a long time. Lying on the bamboo chair, he enjoyed it very much. Husband, how does it feel to have a family? Datira, who was already a feather god, walked over and massaged Night Sorrow's shoulders. That goes without saying. Yi Shang closed his eyes comfortably. After massaging his shoulders for a while, Datira continued. I know you enjoy the atmosphere of a family. The sisters are all waiting for you in the room. Waiting for me? So that's what everyone was talking about. Hearing this, Night Sorrow smiled and thought. So they're preparing to spend the night together. This kind of opportunity to sleep together is rare, hee. At this moment, Datira gave off a seductive feeling, which made Night Sorrow feel a little strange. She used to be the master of a world, and had a high and mighty temperament. Now that she was a little woman, the temptation was not small. Shall we go now? Datira asked with a playful expression. Let's go, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Even if there are 6 of you, I have nothing to fear. Let's all attack together. Along the way, Night Sorrow and Datura chatted and laughed, talking about some interesting things that happened when they met. Not long after, they arrived at the room where his wives were. As expected, Night Sorrow walked into the room and saw that his 5 wives were all wearing thin clothes. He immediately had a certain reaction. Some desires could not be severed just by increasing strength. If everyone was pure, the god realm would be very harmonious. Come, let's talk on the bed. Chapter 26:31. Haha, I'm coming. Hearing this, Yi Shang took off his blue phoenix battle armor and some of his undergarments, revealing his muscular body. Hee. Seeing Night Sorrow's anxious look, always smiled and said, "What's the name of the armor you took off?" "The blue phoenix armor. Jingyan gave it to me." Night Sorrow replied and walked to the bed. At this moment, Yang Lei snorted and said, "Let's talk while standing below." What's going on?" Night Sorrow asked in confusion. Weren't they going to sleep together? How could they sleep together while standing? "Do you know what's going on with the blue phoenix armor?" Yang Lei retracted the smile on her face and asked. "What's going on?" Night Sorrow asked in confusion. "Isn't the blue phoenix armor just a defensive equipment given by a friend? What's there to talk about?" The blue phoenix armor was made by Jing Yun using her own bloodline. Yang Lei sighed and said, "It's a defensive robe with spirituality. Whenever you're attacked, Jing Yun will help you take half of the damage. Do you know how much harm Jing Yun has suffered during your campaigns all these years?" "What? The blue phoenix armor? There's such a thing?" Hearing Yang Lei's words, Night Sorrow's mind buzzed. He had experienced countless battles over the years, and the blue phoenix armor had helped him take a lot of damage. If Jing Yun had to take half of the damage, then she must have been seriously injured. After all, his opponents were all very strong. You should have known that a battle armor made with bloodline power isn't that simple. Always shook her head and asked, "What are you going to do now?" Night Sorrow was speechless and didn't know how to answer. Normally, when he was fighting outside, he was like a rock that couldn't be moved by anything. But now it was completely different. "What about you? Tell me, what are you going to do to prevent Jing Yun from getting hurt?" Sikong Chiyu also opened her mouth. Her tone was not the same as her usual gentle tone. Meanwhile, Shueshi spoke in a gentle voice. "Jing Yun is truly too pitiful. Not only was her clan annihilated, she even suffered so much. What do you want me to do?" If Yi Shang still didn't understand what his wives were saying, then he would be too stupid. He opened his mouth and asked in return, "Marry Jing Yun back. She has already suffered enough. She needs the warmth of a family," Lin Piamiao said calmly. I only need you guys." Regarding this matter, Night Sorrow felt a little uneasy. He had a certain level of feelings for Jing Yun, but he felt that it wasn't to that extent. But Jing Yun's life is too hard. She needs her family's love and care. Datura looked at Night Sorrow. "Although we don't want you to share your love with her, Jing Yun is worth our sacrifice. Back then, if it wasn't for Jing Yun guarding Night Moon Dynasty's residence, I'm afraid many of our people would have died in the Night Moon Dynasty." "What's going on?" Yi Shang asked fearfully when he heard this. "Did you really think that Night Moon Dynasty's life in the realm of the gods was smooth sailing when you left?" Sikong Chiyu's brows had a trace of seriousness. "Actually, it wasn't like that. If it wasn't for Jing Yun risking her life to protect me, I would have been abducted when I was in High Bay City. There's such a thing? When did this happen?" Night Sorrow almost exploded when he heard this. He didn't know that such a thing had happened. The person who did evil has already been killed by Jing Yun. I haven't told you about this matter. But today, I have to let you know everything. Sikong Chiyu said faintly. "Go and marry Jing Yun back." Night Sorrow was still a little hesitant. He felt that his heart hadn't recovered yet. What about you? Little 13, let me tell you. During this period of time in the realm of the gods, Jing Yun has protected Night Moon Dynasty more than you. Yang Lei snorted and said, "If you don't marry her back, don't ever step into this house again. Get out." "Is this what all of you mean?" Night Sorrow raised his head and looked at the other girls. There's no need to ask. Sikong Chuyu Yonglei Aoi Shueshi Datura, and Lin Piaomiao said in unison. Alright. I'll go and find her. At least I won't let everyone down. Night Sorrow put on the Azure Phoenix battle armor and walked out of the room. But not long after he walked out, Night Sorrow turned back and asked, Where is Jingyun's mountain peak? It's not far from here. It's that one. Sikong Chuyu walked out of the room and flew into the air to guide Night Sorrow. Okay. I got it. Night Sorrow nodded and flew directly to the mountain peak that the Tianyun school had given to Jingyun. Now that things had developed like this, he didn't feel conflicted anymore. He was prepared to face his heart and marry Jingyun. He still had a good impression of the gentle Jingyun, but he didn't dare to face so many wives at home. Now that he thought about it, Jingyun had done a lot for him. Just thinking about it made his heart ache. They've already arranged the wedding procession for me? Night Sorrow, who was flying in the air, saw a long line at the bottom of the mountain peak as he approached Jingyun's endless peak. This line was made up of thousands of people. Some were carrying the betrothal gifts, while others were carrying the bridal sedan. At first, Night Sorrow thought that his wives had arranged it for him. But after seeing it clearly, his expression changed. In the line, there was a man wearing a red robe and riding a horse. He was obviously dressed as the groom. What's going on? Night Sorrow released his divine soul power and scanned the man in red. He realized that he had a dignified appearance and was a middle-level godly lord. He was a talent. Jingyun, marry me. I, Ning Tianan, will make you happy. Jingyun, marry me. I, Ning Tianan, will make you happy. Jingyun, marry me. I, Ning Tianan, will make you happy. At this moment, the man in red gathered his divine essence and shouted at the top of his lungs. So it's a proposal. Night Sorrow, who was originally worried, calmed down immediately. When he saw the wedding procession, he was still worried that Jingyun had already agreed to it. Ning Tianan, leave. I won't agree to it. Not long later, Jingyun's slightly cold voice came from the endless peak. Ning Tianan smiled and said, Jingyun, you still don't know, right? My grandfather is Grand Elder Ning Changhe, one of the most powerful people in Tianyun school. As long as you marry me, you can do whatever you want in Tianyun school in the future. I don't need this. Please leave. Jingyun's voice came again. Ning Tianan's expression turned ugly when he heard this. He suppressed his anger and said, Jingyun, I've been deeply mesmerized by you since the first time I saw you. Why don't you reconsider? My grandfather also agrees to our marriage. Chapter 2632. Ning Tianan's grandfather, Ning Changhe, was one of the two grand elders of Tianyun school. Since the Tianyun school's sect leader was missing, as the top fighter of Tianyun school, he was indeed very powerful and had a lot of say. Although Ning Tianan wasn't in the top 5 among the divine king seeds of Tianyun school, his status was only second to the legendary Mu Baiyu, because of his grandfather's power. A few days ago, at the ceremony where Jingyun joined the Tianyun clan, Ning Tianan saw Jingyun and had the intention to make her his. Hence he proposed to her today. At this time, Jingyun continued to reply coldly, Please go back. I'm not close to you and don't know your grandfather. This matter will end here. Jingyun, think about it again. This matter will only be beneficial to you and won't harm you at all. Ning Tianan led the bridal escort team and blocked the entrance of Endless Peak. He didn't seem to care and had no intention of leaving. I said I won't think about it. Please don't disturb my cultivation. Ning Tianan refused to leave shamelessly. Jingyun's tone became heavier. Jingyun, are you refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit? Jingyun's tone became heavier. Ning Tianan's face darkened completely. He roared. I also told you that you have to agree to today's matter even if you don't want to. You have no sense of shame. Jingyun had a gentle personality, but she was still infuriated by Ning Tianan. So what if I have no sense of shame? My grandfather is the top fighter of Tianyun school. Even if I take you back by force, no one will dare to say anything. Ning Tianan shouted in disdain and ordered. Since she doesn't want to give me face, attack and take her back by force. Ning Tianan, don't you care about the sect rules? Seeing that Ning Tianan was about to attack, Jingyun scolded angrily. He had a few monarch gods under him. She wasn't confident in dealing with them. Sect rules? Sect rules? Those are just rules and regulations to restrain weak people like you. To me, those are nothing. Ning Tianen laughed arrogantly. Do you think that you can do whatever you want just because you have a grand elder as your grandfather? At this time, Knight Sorrow, who couldn't stand it anymore, slowly appeared and criticized Ning Tianen. Who are you? After being scolded, Ning Tianen looked angrily at Knight Sorrow. When he realized that it was the exalted god, he said in disdain, anyone can kill him. Also the other Sir Gods, follow me. Break the array formation of the Endless Peak and capture Jingyun. This young master wants to consummate his marriage tonight. Bridal chamber? You don't have to think about it anymore. The infuriated Knight Sorrow shouted coldly. Then he took out his heavenly Samsara halberd and charged towards Ning Tianen. Seeing Knight Sorrow appear, Jingyun, who was originally a little flustered, appeared from the Endless Peak. There was a hint of a smile on her face. Knight Sorrow's appearance at such a crucial moment warmed her heart. Ignorant ant, how dare you find trouble with this young master? No one in Tianyan school can save you. Facing Knight Sorrow's attack, Ning Tianen, who originally wanted the others to attack, shouted, no one needs to attack. Leave this ant for me to vent my anger. Sky-piercing finger. Facing Knight Sorrow, Ning Tianen used his ultimate technique. To him, Ning Tianen was just an exalted god. He couldn't even last one round. Ignorant fool. Knight Sorrow used his heavenly Samsara halberd to use the Samsara strike and shattered the sky-piercing finger. Then he attacked Ning Tianen's face. Oh no! Save the master! Seeing Knight Sorrow attack, the 5 or 6 Sir Gods beside Ning Tianen all moved to block Knight Sorrow's attack. Get lost! Those who block me will die. Ning Tianen's actions had crossed Knight Sorrow's bottom line. Whether it was from Tianyan School's point of view or Jingyun's point of view, he wanted to kill Ning Tianen. Facing the obstruction of the Sir Gods, Knight Sorrow used the Trayastrimsa Samsara secret technique and used the Roaring Flames demon subduing. At the same time, he used the third move of the Green Rock soul-splitting roar. Third roar shatters Samsara. Once this roar was heard, the sky changed color. The Sir Gods, including Ning Tianen, were all shaken to the core by the roar. Forbidden Spear. While they were momentarily stunned, Knight Sorrow used his heavenly Samsara halberd to attack. Just as Ning Tianen was about to dodge, he unleashed the Divine Essence Dragon Locking Formation to bind him within. Oh no! Grandpa, save me! Grandpa, save me! Someone wants to kill me! Facing this attack, Ning Tianen felt that he had no ability to resist and immediately shouted. Who dares to hurt my grandson? Ning Tianen shouted. Elder Sang's voice immediately sounded from a corner of Tianyan School. Your grandson disregarded the rules of the sect and snatched the Divine King's seed. He's already sentenced to death. Facing Ning Changhe, the #1 expert of Tianyan School, Knight Sorrow didn't have the slightest bit of fear. Ning Tianen was such a lawless person. He had to get rid of him today. Do you have any evidence for your words? Divine King Ning Changhe's voice sounded again. When he said this, his voice was extremely cold and contained a strong murderous intent. I saw it with my own eyes and heard it with my own ears. What evidence do I need? Knight Sorrow asked with a cold smile. Is that so? Then why don't you kill one for me to see? I'd like to see who dares to touch my family in front of me. Divine King Ning Changhe's voice was raised a few octaves, and it resounded throughout the entire Tianyan School. Little B** starred, continue to be arrogant and challenge me. With his grandpa backing him up, Ning Tianen instantly started to provoke him arrogantly. You don't have to be arrogant. Today it won't be just you. Even your grandpa won't be kind. Knight Sorrow glared at Ning Tianen and looked in the direction of the voice. Your family is your family. Don't tell me that Knight Sorrow's family isn't your family. A faint smile appeared on Jingyun's face when she heard Yishang call her family. However, she was worried that Knight Sorrow would challenge the Divine King because of her. Knight Sorrow, you're just an exalted god. Who do you think you are? Today, I'll kill an arrogant little guy like you. I'll show you the rules of Tianyan School. Ning Changha's voice was getting closer. Before he arrived, he had already launched an attack in the direction of Night Sorrow. Ha ha ha. Who told you to be arrogant? Let's see how you'll die. Seeing that the Divine King Ning Changha was attacking Night Sorrow, Ning Tianan revealed a sinister smile. See how I'll die? You guys should die instead. Night Sorrow sneered. He didn't even blink in the face of the Divine King's attack. Although Night Sorrow didn't move at all, Ning Changha's attack didn't even touch a strand of his hair. This was because the Divine King Zhuangqing, who had rushed over after hearing the commotion, had already made his move. The Divine King Zhuangqing, who had blocked Ning Changha's attack, scolded him coldly. Ning Changha, even if you were on the side of that scum Ho Jun, I wouldn't have any intention to kill you. However, you're seeking your own death by attacking Night Sorrow. Hee hee, who do you think you are? You're just a lower Divine King. How dare you stop me? Ning Changha, who was arrogant to a certain extent, didn't care about Night Sorrow at all. He didn't even care about the Divine King Zhuangqing at all. Ning Changha, there's a saying that goes, you reap what you sow. Originally, I wanted to spare your life in order to preserve the strength of Tianyin School. However, it seems like you have no intention of living. Chapter 2633. In fact, Yuan Tianji was already a Divine King long ago. He had just been enduring it and pretending to be a half-step Divine King. Today, he felt confident that he could defeat all of Ho Jun's people. Hence, he displayed his strength in front of everyone. Although he was only a lower Divine King at Perfected Realm, and Ning Changha was a middle Divine King, he had the confidence to challenge him. Facing Yuan Tianji and Zhuangqing, the two Divine Kings, Ning Changha was stunned at first. Then he laughed and said, Two Divine Kings, this is a good card. But what awaits you is only the destruction of your divine souls. Ning Changha's face revealed a trace of madness. He looked a little evil, and there was a faint black aura flowing around him. Ning Changha, you're too confident. Although I, Yuan Tianji, am only a lower Divine King, I'm not afraid of a middle Divine King like you. Together with the Divine King Zhuangqing, killing you will be a piece of cake. Ning Changha's smile was extremely evil. A trace of doubt flashed across Yuan Tianji's mind, but he still scolded him, wanting to test his opponent's confidence. Ning Changha, this old thing is a little strange. He's different from before. I think he might have been possessed by the devil. The Divine King Zhuangqing and Ning Changha were both Grand Elders of the Tianyin School, so they were very familiar with him. Although Ning Changha's character was not good in the past, he was definitely not as crazy as he was now. Deputy Sect Leader Yuan, Grand Elder Zhuang, be careful. Ning Changha has a very strong extraterrestrial demon aura. If I'm not wrong, he might be hiding a Divine King level extraterrestrial demon. Night Sorrow, who was observing Ning Changha with the eye of the sea serpent, transmitted his voice to Yuan Tianji and Zhuangqing, reminding them to be careful. When Ning Changha first appeared, there was no extraterrestrial demon aura on him. However, as his divine essence erupted, the extraterrestrial demon aura gradually spread out uncontrollably. Others might not be able to sense it clearly, but Night Sorrow had the power of merit, so he could sense it clearly. Moreover, his eye of the sea serpent could also see the faint black aura, which was the characteristic of the extraterrestrial demon. I see. Although Ning Changha was arrogant in the past, he would never do such a presumptuous thing in the sect. It seems that his mind has been completely influenced by the extraterrestrial demon. Hearing Night Sorrow's voice, Yuan Tianji's voice, no matter what happened later, the Tianyin School's strength would have an obvious decline, which was something he did not want to see. His ambition was to lead the Tianyin clan well on behalf of the missing clan master. Huangqing, between the eyebrows of the Divine King, the Zhuangqing, was completely filled with battle intent. To them, today was the best time to eliminate the Tianyin School. As he spoke, he waved his hand and struck a palm at Ning Changha. It was a probing palm, which was just to put pressure on Ning Changha. All right. Today, we will completely eliminate the trash in Tianyin School. Yuan Tianji roared and attacked Ning Changha as well. He wanted Ning Changha to summon the extraterrestrial demon. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow. Only the sect master can activate the sect's formation. Enter the basement from under my bed in my original palace, and activate the formation I set up. There are the divine crystals needed to activate the formation. Today, neither Ning Changhe nor the extraterrestrial demon can be spared. I will go after I kill Ning Tianan. Hearing Yuan Tianji's voice transmission, Night Sorrow responded and struck a thunderous blow at Ning Tianan. When Ning Tianan wanted to dodge, he used the Divine Vitality Dragon locking array to bind him. Ning Tianan, who was trapped in the enclosed space, quickly cried for help. When he fought with Night Sorrow just now, he was already at a disadvantage and had no courage to fight. ****. An exalted god ant. You still dare to attack at this moment. How dare you? Seeing Night Sorrow attacking Ning Tianan again, Ning Changhe immediately struck a palm in anger. Your opponent is us. However, with Yuan Tianji and Zhuang Qing blocking him, this attack obviously didn't pose any threat to Night Sorrow. Go to hell. Ning Changhe's attack didn't come under the obstruction of some Sir gods. Night Sorrow directly pierced through Ning Tianan's chest with his halberd. I said that what awaits you is the destruction of your divine soul. After piercing through Ning Tianan's chest, Night Sorrow waved his hand and shattered his elixir field. Then he pierced his immortal sea and killed him completely. Ah! How dare you kill my grandson? Ant, you're courting death. Ning Changhe, who was restrained, saw Night Sorrow killing Ning Tianan instantly. He was so angry that his eyes turned red. At this moment he said coldly, Today, I'm going to massacre the entire Tianyan school. All of you must die. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Changhe summoned 4 Divine King-level extraterrestrial demons. These 4 Divine King-level extraterrestrial demons were similar in strength to shelter from the cold that Night Sorrow had encountered before. Ning Changhe regretted summoning these 4 extraterrestrial demons only now. If he had summoned them earlier, Ning Tianan might not have been killed by Night Sorrow instantly. Ning Changhe, it seems like you've colluded with the extraterrestrial demons. This is a complete betrayal of the sect and the entire realm of gods. Today, I Yuan Tianji will definitely clean up Tianyan school. When Yuan Tianji saw Ning Changhe summoning 4 Divine King-level extraterrestrial demons, he couldn't help but feel relieved at the same time. If Ning Changhe had summoned these evil creatures earlier, the entire Tianyan school would definitely be massacred. However, with Tan Qingfeng and Fan Xianyan, the 2 Divine King from Tianqing Gate, present today, even if Ning Changhe summoned 4 Divine King-level extraterrestrial demons, Tianyan school would still be able to put up a fight. It seems like some things are really related to fate. Unknowingly, Night Sorrow's fate is affecting the entire Tianyan school's fate. Seeing Ning Changhe summoning 4 Divine King-level extraterrestrial demons, Zhuang Qing and the Divine King were also relieved. They thought that if Tan Qingfeng hadn't come to Tianyan school with Night Sorrow to befriend him, Tianyan school might have been destroyed directly this time. Ha ha ha. Yuan Tianji, you and Zhuang Qing are 2 pieces of trash. You want to go against the 5 Divine King-level extraterrestrials? Hearing Yuan Tianji's words, Ning Changhe laughed with an evil face. In his opinion, it was simply impossible for Yuan Tianji and Zhuang Qing to defeat the 5 Divine King-level extraterrestrials. Today, not only would Yuan Tianji and Zhuang Qing die, but the entire Tianyan school would also be massacred. He wanted to avenge his grandson. Man proposes, God disposes. Ning Changhe, I'm here. It's not up to you and these bastards to act presumptuously. At this moment, Tan Qingfeng appeared in midair. Just now, he had been hiding in Lu Qingyuan's spatial magic device. You extraterrestrial demons have schemed against the major sects time and time again. It seems like we need to settle the score. A moment later, Fan Xinyan's figure also appeared. He stared coldly at the extraterrestrial demons in front of him. Chapter 2634. Tianqing Gate's Gatemaster, Tan Qingfeng. Hasn't Tianqing Gate always been at odds with Tianyan school? Mu Baiyu once killed your personal disciple. Why are you here now? Ning Changhe was stunned when he saw the upper-level Divine King, Tan Qingfeng. However, he was only stunned for a moment before he questioned him with a crazed expression. My disciple was killed. That's a small grudge. You colluded with the extraterrestrial demons. To the cultivators of Yinxian continent, that's a huge grudge. Today, Tan Qingfeng, will destroy your souls. Tan Qingfeng had a murderous look on his face. He was not careless at all when facing the extraterrestrial demons. If that's the case, you can die too. Ning Changhe roared with a cold expression. Kill, kill, kill. Destroy the entire Tianyin school. Although he's an upper-level divine king, we have 5 divine kings. They shouldn't be a match for us. Among them, the extraterrestrial demon Black River analyzed the situation and said, the 4 of you stall these 4 divine kings. I'll kill all the disciples of Tianyin school first. After killing all the ants, I'll cooperate with you to kill these divine kings. Alright. You take care of that Night Sorrow who killed my grandson first. Ning Changhe, who had a crazed look on his face, said something to the extraterritorial demon named Heihe before continuing to fight with Yuan Tianji. Jing Yun, go to Deputy Sect Master Yuan's former residence. Enter the secret passage under the bed, and activate the array he set up. Night Sorrow originally planned to activate the array set up by Yuan Tianji after killing Ming Tianan. However, when the battle between Divine Kings started, a Divine King immediately chased after him. Seeing this, he quickly sent a telepathic message to Jing Yun. But what about you? Seeing that Night Sorrow was being targeted by a Divine King-level extraterrestrial demon, Jing Yun didn't want to leave, and was prepared to help. However, before she could finish her sentence, Night Sorrow interrupted her. Night Sorrow said in a serious tone, go. Don't waste a single second. Otherwise, Tianyin School would be in big trouble today. Judging from the current situation, this extra Divine King Black River was the variable in the normal battle situation. Without the Divine King to keep it in check, it could slaughter without restraint. Night Sorrow felt that activating the array would have a positive impact on the battle. Hence, he gave Jing Yun an absolute order. Alright. Be careful. After glancing at Night Sorrow, who was being chased by the Divine King, Jing Yun, who was extremely worried, gave her orders and rushed towards Night Moon Peak amidst the chaos. Although she left decisively, she was still very worried about Night Sorrow's safety. No matter how strong Night Sorrow was, he was only a mid-level Divine King. His opponent was the insufferably arrogant Divine King. This wasn't a fair battle at all. Merit deity, your flesh and blood must be incomparably delicious. The other Divine King were all busy killing each other. With no one stopping him, Black River roared proudly. As a Divine King, he had absolute confidence in dealing with Night Sorrow. Although he didn't seem to be in a rush when he attacked, every attack would threaten Night Sorrow's life. At this moment, the 4 Divine King Tan Qingfeng, Fan Xianyan, Yuan Tianji and Zhuang Qing were all pinned down and couldn't care about anything else. Ning Changhe and the other 3 Divine King-level extraterrestrial demons were desperately exhausting the 4 Divine Kings. Clearly, they were trying to buy time for Black River. At the same time, many Divine Lords from the Tianyin school suddenly betrayed him. These people's eyes were filled with a strong red color. They weren't afraid of being injured at all when they fought. Clearly, they had been dominated by their demonic nature. Lu Qingyuan and the other elders brought some godly king seedlings and engaged in a massacre with the godly monarchs who had gone mad. Facing a real Divine King, how can I break out of this situation? Night Sorrow, who was being chased by Black River, knew that it was impossible for him to defeat the Divine King. However, he naturally wouldn't sit still and wait for death. Every attack from Black River just now was terrifying, but he had successfully dodged 4 or 5 attacks. However, if this continued, he would be hit sooner or later. Night Sorrow, stay closer to me. If you're too far away, I won't be able to help you. At this moment, Tan Qingfeng transmitted his voice to Night Sorrow. He was the upper-level Divine King, and was the strongest person present. However, he couldn't spare too much energy to help Night Sorrow when fighting against a mid-level Divine King extraterrestrial demon. Okay. Night Sorrow, who had no other choice, responded and moved closer to Tan Qingfeng. This was the only way. Haha. You're trying to escape to the upper-level Divine King? That's a good plan, but you can't do it. Merit deity, you'd better let me eat you up. Extraterrestrial demon Black River instantly saw through Night Sorrow's intention. He stood between Night Sorrow and Tan Qingfeng and didn't give him a chance at all. The aura on his body was extremely evil, and gave people an extremely uncomfortable feeling. After blocking Night Sorrow, he completely unleashed the power of the Divine King extraterrestrial demon, and used his divine domain to bind Night Sorrow. He smiled coldly and said, "Your strength is not bad. You're a high god, but you're stronger than most divine lords. But your path will only end here. Because I, Black River, will kill you with my own hands. You can die with pride if you can last a few rounds in the hands of the Divine King." The Divine King's divine domain. Night Sorrow was suppressed by the Divine King's divine domain. Although he could rely on his powerful body to move, his speed was very slow. If Black River attacked again, he wouldn't be able to dodge at all. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow made up his mind and swallowed a pill to recover his divine essence energy. He completely recovered and activated the Treastrimsa battle mystic technique, ready to fight to the death. He thought that even if he died in battle, he wouldn't let Black River have an easy time. In the end, he could choose to self-destruct even his body and Samsara halberd. Raging flames demon subduing. Virtuous dragon lock formation. When Black River fought Night Sorrow, it was like a cat playing with a mouse. This also gave him a chance to attack. After using these two moves, Night Sorrow used the third move of the Green Rock soul-rending roar. Triple roar shattering Samsara. Aha! Ant, you still don't know how big the gap between the Divine King and the High Gods is, right? In the face of Night Sorrow's attack, Black River, who was only slightly affected by the virtuous dragon locking formation, said in a cold voice filled with ridicule. Black River, everyone is fighting to the death to stop the other Divine King for you. What are you doing? Why do you need so much time to kill a high god? At this moment, extraterrestrial demon Black Star, who was fighting Tan Qingfeng, reprimanded him unhappily. I'll kill him now. Hearing this, Black River's aura became even stronger. When he attacked again, the strength was completely different. At this moment, Night Sorrow was suppressed by the opponent's divine domain. Even moving became difficult, let alone dodging Black River's attack. Go to hell. An ant will be an ant in the end. After attacking, Black River looked at Night Sorrow with disdain. This time, he was going all out. I can't block it. Facing this attack, Night Sorrow knew in his heart that he couldn't block it. Chapter 26:35. The murderous aura was a little dense. Night Sorrow knew that it was impossible for him to completely block the Divine King's attack. In that instant, he glanced in the direction of Night Moon Peak, and made a decision to self-destruct. He wanted to self-destruct his body, and the heavenly Samsara halberd to deal a blow to Black River. You want to self-destruct to deal with me? You're thinking too much. Even if an ant self-destructs, it will still be the power of an ant. Black River looked at Night Sorrow with a strange smile. He was absolutely confident that he could escape unscathed from the self-destruction. After all, the Divine King's understanding of space was not something that the exalted gods could compare to. Junior Night Sorrow, don't be rash. I will help you. However, just as Night Sorrow was about to self-destruct, a voice suddenly sounded from the bottom of his heart. This voice was very gentle. He couldn't tell if it was a male or female, but it gave off a sense of stability. Junior? You are? Hearing this address, Night Sorrow was clearly a little surprised. He couldn't think of any senior in Tianyun school. Just as Night Sorrow opened his mouth to ask, a white figure floated over from the horizon, and slashed Black River's attack with a sword. Divine Lord, you can break my attack? Who are you? Black River was clearly a little surprised that his sure kill attack towards Night Sorrow was broken. He looked at the newcomer and snorted coldly. The other party was only a Divine Lord, but the strength of his divine essence energy was almost on par with the Divine King. Tianyun School's Mu Baiyu. Mu Baiyu, who was dressed in white, replied and continued to attack Black River with his sword. Senior Mu Baiyu, thank you for saving my life. Night Sorrow was very grateful that Mu Baiyu had appeared and saved him. He noticed that Mu Baiyu, who was fighting Heihe, was not at a disadvantage at all. In fact, he even seemed to be suppressing Heihe. It was rumored that it was already a miracle for the invincible god monarchs of the god realm to not be at a disadvantage when fighting against the Divine King. It was almost impossible for them to defeat him completely. Yet, Mu Baiyu was showing signs of victory. However, Knight Sorrow was dumbfounded when he used the sea serpent's eye to take a look. He discovered that Mu Baiyu, the legend of Tianyun School and the object of admiration of countless female disciples, was actually a female cultivator. If this matter were to spread, it would definitely break the hearts of countless female disciples. Of course, this was also good news for the male disciples. Junior brother Knight Sorrow, there's no need to be so polite. You've won supreme glory for the sect in the 7 Sects tournament. I won't watch you get slaughtered by the extraterrestrial demons. Mu Baiyu, who was fighting against Black River, was clearly at ease. He even had the time to send a sound transmission to Knight Sorrow. Senior sister, I'll lend you a hand. Knight Sorrow felt a little awkward when he called a woman senior sister. While Mu Baiyu was fighting against Black River, Knight Sorrow used the Virtuous Dragon Lock Array to help her restrict Black River's movements. Although the Virtuous Dragon Lock Array couldn't restrict the Divine King, it could obviously reduce his speed. After being interrupted by Knight Sorrow, Black River, who was already at a disadvantage, immediately became more passive. Black River, what are you doing? You can't even kill a high god and are at a disadvantage against a divine monarch. Are you still the Divine King? Black Star, who was facing Tan Qingfeng, noticed that Black River was being suppressed by a divine monarch and roared in anger. It's not that I'm not strong enough. The opponent's cultivation level is a divine monarch, but his actual combat strength is definitely at the level of the Divine King. That high god and also has special methods that make me feel very uncomfortable, Black River explained with grievance. Ever since he became the Divine King, he had never seen such a powerful high god and divine monarch. He was very angry. What did you call me? Mu Baiyu, who heard Knight Sorrow call her senior sister, sent a cold voice transmission. Her body trembled slightly. Nothing. I'll cooperate with you to kill the opponent. Mu Baiyu's reaction was very obvious when she heard him call her senior sister. Knight Sorrow felt that he had said too much. However, Mu Baiyu continued to ask, "Did you call me senior sister just now?" "Yes, but I'll help you hide this secret." Knight Sorrow guessed that she definitely didn't want to expose her identity as a female cultivator, so he replied, "So you already know that I'm a female cultivator?" Mu Baiyu continued to ask. There was a trace of complexity in her tone. "If I didn't know that you're a female cultivator, why would I call you senior sister?" Knight Sorrow muttered in his heart. However, he naturally wouldn't say that out loud. He replied, "I can tell. Senior sister, be careful in battle. After killing the extraterrestrial demons that are causing trouble this time, I have something to discuss with you." Mu Baiyu's voice had calmed down a lot. After saying that, she continued to fight with Black River. With Knight Sorrow's help, Black River was getting more and more passive. At this moment, Jing Yun activated the array set up by Yuan Tianji. Could it be that the sect master has returned? The moment the array was activated, Ning Changhe, who was fighting with Yuan Tianji, was a little stunned. This was because the Tianyun School's sect protecting array could only be activated by the sect master. I'm not afraid to tell you that this isn't a sect protecting array. It's an array that I spent countless years to set up. Yuan Tianji laughed and said, "Now Baiyu's strength is no longer inferior to the Divine King. With the help of the array, none of you will be able to escape today." Yuan Tianji, I didn't expect you to set up such an array without anyone noticing. You're 100 times more scheming than Ho Jun. When the array was activated, Ning Changhe immediately felt a huge pressure, which caused his strength to drop from the level of a middle-level Divine King to that of a low-level Divine King. Such a huge pressure could completely affect the direction of this battle. He, who was originally very crazy, seemed to have calmed down a lot in an instant. This isn't good. I can't hold on any longer. We don't stand a chance in today's battle. Ning Changhe was still holding on under Yuan Tianji's attack. Black Star, who was fighting with Tan Qingfeng, could not hold on any longer. Now that the array was activated, they had no chance to escape even if they wanted to. Since we don't even have a chance to escape, let's kill a few more people. Ning Changhe, who had calmed down, locked his gaze on Night Sorrow during the battle. He said coldly, "Everyone cooperate with me to kill this exalted god. He has the power of merit protecting him. If he grows up, he will become a huge threat to the extraterrestrial demons. Alright. Let's kill this exalted god first, then find a chance to kill more people." Black Star couldn't resist Tan Qingfeng's attack anymore. It responded and then flew to the nearest mountain. It could feel that there were many living beings on the mountain, and they wanted to blow up the entire mountain with self-detonation. Oh no! Hurry up and stop him. Most of the people on this mountain are Night Sorrow's clansmen. Yuan Tianji, who saw through Black Star's intention, immediately shouted at Tan Qingfeng. The mountain that Black Star was flying toward belonged to Jing Yin. Most of the cultivators on the mountain were from the Night Moon dynasty. This was the arrangement of Sikong Chiyu. What? You said that most of the people on this mountain are Night Sorrow's clansmen? Chapter 2636. It was a net-shaped treasure, and its grade was between King and Dominator grade. After Tan Qingfeng threw it out, it immediately turned into a huge net that covered the sky and covered Black Star's position. From Black Star's point of view, this net was like the sky, covering the sky and covering the earth. There was no way to avoid it at all. He hid in the void and wanted to avoid it, but he was still wrapped up by the huge net. Evil spirit, you won't be able to do anything in front of me. After keeping Black Star in the net, Tan Qingfeng sneered. He hated the extraterrestrial demon in front of him very much, but he felt that it was more important to have a good relationship with Night Sorrow. After stopping the extraterrestrial demon from blowing up a mountain where Night Sorrow's people were, he was in a good mood. Night Sorrow, I'll leave this extraterrestrial demon to you. You control the bottle. With just a thought, this extraterrestrial demon's soul will be destroyed. After keeping Black Star in a transparent bottle divine weapon, Tan Qingfeng handed it to Night Sorrow. He then continued to participate in the battle with the other extraterrestrial demons. Thank you, Sect Leader Tan, for saving my people from Night Sorrow. Although Tan Qingfeng was trying to be friendly, he did play a role in turning the tide at the critical moment. Night Sorrow was very grateful and thanked him. Night Sorrow, you're welcome. When you rise in the future, just take care of me. Tan Qingfeng, who was fighting with the other extraterrestrial demons, replied with a smile. With his participation, Ning Changhe and the other extraterrestrial demons couldn't find a chance to self-destruct even if they wanted to. In less than 2 hours, they were all killed one after another. Night Sorrow, I heard that your eyes are very special and can see through all evil spirits. Follow me and check out the entire Tianyan school. After killing Ning Changhe and the others who were causing trouble, Yuan Tianji looked at Night Sorrow and said. When he heard this, Mu Baiyu shot his gaze at Yishan and sent a voice transmission. Don't forget what I said. Okay. I got it. Night Sorrow opened his mouth to reply. On the surface he was replying to Yuan Tianji, but in reality, he was also replying to Mu Baiyu. After that, he followed Yuan Tianji and walked through the entire Tianyan school, ferreting out all the people who had the evil aura of the heavenly demon. Our Tianyan school has gone through a great calamity. Although our numbers have been greatly reduced and our strength has decreased by nearly 50%, we have finally returned to the Orthodox school. This is a great thing. After the matter was settled, Yuan Tianji said something at the banquet. He looked at Tan Qingfeng and Fan Xianyun and said, I have to thank the two of you for your generous help today. Otherwise Tianyan school, would not have been able to contend against so many extraterrestrial demons. You don't have to be so courteous, Vice Sect Leader Yuan. When I made my move, it was because of Night Sorrow. Tan Qingfeng looked at Night Sorrow with a smile and said enviously, Your Tianyan school is really lucky to have Night Sorrow as a disciple. Haha, everything is predestined. In fact, Night Sorrow chose to join Tianyan school for the sake of the Heavenly Phoenix fortune pill. Yuan Tianji explained with a smile and continued, Right now, the clues to the Heavenly Phoenix fortune pill are not clear, but I have already sent people to investigate. I believe there will be results soon. Thank you, Vice Sect Leader Yuan. Night Sorrow heard this and cupped his hands. Long Tianqing was currently helping him with the matter of Wu Lingfei. He naturally did not want to let her down. He hoped to refine the Heavenly Phoenix fortune pill as soon as possible and save Jin Yuan. Night Sorrow. Recently, I am preparing to officially become the acting sect leader. What do you think of this? Yuan Tianji continued. Since Tan Qingfeng's arrival, he had been more polite to Night Sorrow and valued his opinion. As a disciple, Night Sorrow has no right to speak about the major matters of the sect. Night Sorrow looked at Yuan Tianji and said, "But a country cannot be without a ruler for a day, and a sect cannot be without a leader. Vice sect leader Yuan becoming the acting sect leader is imperative." The other elders in Baiyu, what do you think? After asking Night Sorrow, Yuan Tianji looked at Lu Qingyuan, Mu Baiyu, and the others. The others naturally did not have any objections. They all felt that this matter was a matter of course, and there was nothing inappropriate about it. In that case, I, Yuan Tianji, will become the acting sect leader of Tianyan School from now on. As for the ceremony, there is no need to worry about it. Yuan Tianji raised his wine cup and said, "Let me toast everyone." Then he tilted his head back and drank. Yuan Tianji becoming the acting sect leader of Tianyan School was something that everyone expected, so everyone was in a good mood. But at this time, Night Sorrow said worriedly, "Everyone, I'm thinking that since so many heavenly demons have infiltrated Tianyan School, will the other sects encounter the same thing? Or even, could there be a few sects that have been completely controlled by the heavenly demons, just like Soaring Heaven sect?" What you said is very reasonable. It seems that we can't go directly to Soaring Heaven sect, but should go to the other sects first. Tan Qingfeng immediately stood up and said, "If the situation was really that serious, it would be a test of life and death for Cloud Fairy Continent. After all, if it weren't for Night Sorrow's influence, Tianyan School would have been completely destroyed." Indeed. We will immediately organize the top experts to go to the other sects to support them. As for Tianyan School, although it will be empty inside, there is an array to prevent ordinary people from attacking. Yuan Tianji thought for a while, then continued to organize the team. Night Sorrow, Zhuangqing, the Divine King Lu Qingyuan, Mu Baiyu, and the others were all in the list. Saving people is like putting out a fire. This matter must be done as soon as possible. We will set off immediately. Qingyuan, take out the Heavenly Cloud Shuttle. After counting the elite team of 20 people, Yuan Tianji spoke to everyone, and had Lu Qingyuan take out the Heavenly Cloud Shuttle, ready to take everyone with him. Sect leader, Night Sorrow still has something to deal with, so he won't be coming this time. When everyone gathered, Night Sorrow said, "In the battle with the Divine King, he couldn't intervene at all. He estimated that the battles of the other sects were the same, so he would be a burden if he went. Moreover, Night Sorrow had decided that no matter what, he had to rescue Wu Lingfei first before doing anything else. Otherwise, he would never be able to let go of a huge stone in his heart. Since you have thought about it, then stay. If you want to do something, if you need the sect's help, you can just tell us." Yuan Tianji said to Yishang and transmitted his voice, "Don't let anyone get close to the sect's formation. Now that my Tianyan School is empty, if the array closes, the consequences will be unimaginable. Sect leader, I will take care of this matter." After replying to Yuan Tianji, Night Sorrow said goodbye to everyone. "Everyone have a safe trip." Wait, I still have something to say. Chapter 2637. You and Night Sorrow are both exceptional genius disciples of my Tianyan School. We should have a good exchange. Hearing Mu Baiyu's words, Yuan Tianji said politely and continued, "No need to rush, we will wait for you." Then he and Tan Qingfeng talked about Night Sorrow. Mu Baiyu looked at Night Sorrow and said, "To avoid delaying everyone's time, let's talk inside my spatial artifact. My spatial artifact can accelerate and decelerate 20 times. Senior sister, let's go inside my spatial artifact." Hearing that the other party's spatial artifact could accelerate and decelerate 20 times, Night Sorrow replied. His clear sky pagoda could accelerate 100 times, which was much stronger than Mu Baiyu's. Alright. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Mu Baiyu analyzed that his spatial artifact might be more powerful than the time rule, and entered the clear sky pagoda without any hesitation. It is indeed much better than my spatial artifact. How many times can you accelerate here? After entering the clear sky pagoda, Mu Baiyu immediately asked with interest. Exactly 100 times. Night Sorrow answered honestly. 100 times. Mu Baiyu's expression changed. She was a cultivation maniac, and she usually cultivated inside her spatial artifact. Hearing that Night Sorrow's clear sky pagoda could accelerate 100 times, she really wanted to buy it, but after thinking about it, she felt that it was inappropriate. Thus, she said seriously, "Let's get to the point. But before that, you have to swear that you will not tell anyone what you heard today." "All right. I, Night Sorrow, swear that I will not say anything today, or else I am willing to suffer the punishment of the heavenly Tao." Night Sorrow raised his finger and swore the heavenly Tao oath. In fact, even if he didn't swear, he naturally wouldn't reveal it casually. "Qingyu and I came from the same ancient world. Our ancient world was later occupied by an evil alien race, and almost all of our clansmen were slaughtered," Mu Baiyu said and continued. "I was put on a mask by the clansman's prophet since I was born. Even Qingyu didn't know that I was the elder sister, and not the elder brother. The prophet once said that the first person to discover that I am a woman will be able to help me become the ruler and successfully avenge my clansmen. With my current abilities, helping you become a sovereign is nothing more than a fantasy." Night Sorrow shrugged when he heard Mu Baiyu's words. Right now he was only an intermediate high god. Let alone a ruler, he was still a long way from becoming a divine monarch. There's no such thing as time in the god realm. Given your talent, it's only a matter of time before you become a sovereign. That's something everyone knows. Once you become a sovereign, you can come back and help me. Wouldn't that work? Mu Baiyu slowly took off the mask on his face, revealing a sorrowful and peerless face. Mu Baiyu's face was so beautiful that it was a little soul-stirring. It could be said that it was at a level that could cause the downfall of a country. Even though Night Sorrow had seen countless beauties, this was the first time he had seen such a stunning beauty. Although his wives were all outstanding beauties, none of them had such a unique temperament that made one want to take pity on them. At this moment, Night Sorrow somewhat understood why the prophet of the Feather Clan had put on a mask for him. It was because it could save him a lot of unnecessary trouble. But after I become the Divine King, I might be gone for a long time, Night Sorrow explained. As for what the Phoenix ancestor had said and the Eternal Supreme Realm, he naturally wouldn't mention it. It's fine. When you become the Divine King, I'll go with you wherever you go, Mu Baiyu said. Then she asked, Night Sorrow, I heard that you have many beautiful wives. It's like this. I originally had 6 wives, but now I'm about to have a 7th. Yishang didn't try to hide anything and spoke openly. Oh. The 7th wife is the new Tianyan School's Jingyun, right? She's very talented. At the very least, she can become the Divine King. Mu Baiyu was very familiar with the matters of the Tianyan School. Yes, it's her. Since Senior Sister has explained everything, shall we leave? Night Sorrow looked at Mu Baiyu and said. At this moment Mu Baiyu, who had recovered her female voice, said, The prophet has made a prophecy. The fetters between us will be born after we do the deed. Let us begin now. What? That's not right, Senior Sister. Night Sorrow awkwardly responded to Mu Baiyu's words out of the blue. Wasn't the deed between husband and wife supposed to be that kind of thing? There's nothing wrong with it. Since it's a prophecy, let's make it come true. After saying that, Mu Baiyu began to undress. The white silk binding her chest was removed, and her graceful figure was gradually revealed. Senior Sister, this isn't right. Let's leave. If you want to become a ruler, I'll help you in the future. Night Sorrow turned his head away, not daring to look any further. Although he was already a high god, he was still a hot-blooded man. Seeing Mu Baiyu's pitiful appearance, which made people want to take pity on her with just a glance, Yi Shiwen had a strange reaction. No, the prophet's prophecies have never been wrong. Mu Baiyu explained and continued. If you don't cooperate with Senior Sister, then Senior Sister will speak with her strength. Senior Sister, this isn't right. Let's leave. Night Sorrow said helplessly. What the hell is this? The legendary invincible Mu Baiyu was not only a woman, but she also wanted to do that kind of thing with him. You're a man and you have a lot of wives. What are you afraid of? I'm just an inexperienced woman. I'm not afraid. Although Mu Baiyu sounded a little domineering when she said this, her face was already flushed red. After saying this, she didn't wait for Night Sorrow to react. She unleashed her powerful divine domain and enveloped him within it. Although she was an invincible divine sovereign, her true battle strength was not inferior to an ordinary divine king. Night Sorrow, who was suppressed by her divine domain, was unable to resist at all. He was directly pushed to the ground of the clear sky pagoda. Mu Baiyu, who was riding on Night Sorrow's body, used some methods to remove the Blue Phoenix battle armor and other clothes from his body. Then she began to move. However, Mu Baiyu clearly didn't have any experience in this aspect. Although they were already at this stage, the two didn't take the final step. Night Sorrow, who was being pressed down by Mu Baiyu's body, was being tortured to the point of unbearable pain. However, he couldn't cry out in pain. If it was one of his wives or even Jingyun on top of him, Night Sorrow would have chosen to be more direct. At this moment, he could only endure silently. In the clear sky pagoda, 4 to 6 hours passed like this. Mu Baiyu, whose face was flushed red, finally stopped. She got down from Night Sorrow's body and put on her clothes. She said, "You don't need to take responsibility for me. You just need to help me become a sovereign." What kind of logic is this? Is this how I owe you a favor? Hearing Mu Baiyu's words, Night Sorrow sullenly thought to himself. However, when such a thing happened between a man and a woman, no matter how one looked at it, the man was the one taking advantage. He didn't open his mouth to refute. Chapter 26:38. When he returned to Night Moon, Night Sorrow's body still had some reaction, but he was secretly remorseful for a while. Seeing that Night Sorrow had returned, Sikong Chuyu immediately asked with concern, "Husband, is the battle outside over? How was it? Did our Tianyun school successfully repel the extraterrestrial demons?" "Of course we've repelled them, including Ning Changhe. The 5 divine kings who caused trouble have all been killed." As Night Sorrow spoke, he took out the bottle that Tan Qingfeng had given him and said, "This is one of the divine kings of the extraterrestrial demons. When I'm free, I'll choose to kill him directly and turn him into merit power." What an evil aura. Even through the bottle, I can feel the chilling evil. 13. Quickly keep it. Yang Lei, who had walked over, felt uncomfortable facing the bottle, and quickly spoke up. "All right. I'll keep it. I won't take it out again." Night Sorrow quickly kept the bottle and looked at everyone. Just now Tianyun school was in chaos. Were there any casualties in Night Moon Dynasty? Everyone has been staying at Night Moon Peak and Endless Peak. They didn't participate in the battle. No one was injured or missing. Lin Piaomiao, who had just done a head count, spoke up. Now that the sovereign bloodline in her body was growing, her aura was also getting stronger. Sensing the change in Lin Piaomiao's aura, Night Sorrow immediately said, "Sister Xianer, you should hurry up and learn a secret technique to suppress your aura. This can't go on." Lin Piaomiao's aura was getting stronger and stronger. It even gave people a terrifying feeling. Night Sorrow was worried that she would be targeted by sovereigns in the future. After all, to become a sovereign, one would need the sovereign origin. Lin Piaomiao's sovereign bloodline contained the sovereign origin. If the sovereigns found out, the consequences would be unimaginable. "All right. I'll do my best to suppress the bloodline." After Night Sorrow gave his instructions, Lin Piaomiao nodded and asked with a smile, "I can consider this matter at length. But you and Jingyun's matter can't be delayed any longer, right?" "Exactly. There's no time like the present. Let's set the date for today." Yang Lei responded and continued, "Although it's a little rude to Jingyun, most of us have been through this. Let's not stick to those complicated formalities." "You? What are you talking about?" Hearing Lin Piaomiao and Yang Lei's words, Jingyun blushed. "It's settled then. You don't have to be shy. Women have to go through these things in the end." Sikong Chiyu smiled and said, "We'll take you to meet your parents, grandfather, and the others." Then, under Jingyun's reluctance, she and Night Sorrow were dragged by the girls to greet Night Sorrow's father, Yi Wuyo, and the others. After paying respects to his parents, he enjoyed the banquet. Night Sorrow and Jingyin were escorted by Datira to a room that had been decorated with festive colors. Little sister Jingyin is still young. Treat her gently. Before leaving, Datira instructed with a smile. Thinking back to his first time with Datira, Night Sorrow felt that it was similar to the incident with Mu Baiyu. Although he expelled these thoughts from his mind, he looked at Jingyin and said, Jingyin, from today onwards, you and I are husband and wife. I will take good care of you. Thank you for taking care of Night Moon's people along the way. Jingyin replied with a red face. She felt that the air was a little hot and the atmosphere was a little dry. The wedding was a little casual, but I won't be casual about my feelings for you. Night Sorrow hugged Jingyin, who was sitting on the chair, by the waist. He had been tortured by Mu Baiyu just now and couldn't hold it in anymore. Chiyu told me about the matters between men and women. Can I be on top? Night Sorrow slowly placed Jingyin on the bed and asked shyly. When she said this, her face was so red that it looked like it could drip water. Why must you be on top? Night Sorrow asked curiously. Chiyu said that it would be more comfortable. Jingyin said softly and removed her clothes and climbed onto Night Sorrow's body. What fate? I'm being pressed down again. Night Sorrow, who was being pressed down by Jingyin, discovered that Jingyin was similar to Mu Baiyu. She didn't know how to distance herself. This time he didn't hesitate and helped Jingyin complete her transformation amidst her tears. When the sun rose the next day, Jingyin, who had changed her hair accessories, looked obviously different from before. How was it, little 13? Did you feel good in the bridal chamber? Yang Lei asked with a fake smile when they were about to eat breakfast. This? Night Sorrow chuckled. Jingyin, let's forget about this matter. You better control yourself in the future. If something like this happens again, we'll teach you a lesson. Yang Lei snorted and lectured Night Sorrow. Yes. You're right, senior sister. Night Sorrow hurriedly nodded. He thought of Mu Baiyu and thought to himself, my peach blossoms are really strange. Sikong Chiyu didn't dwell on this matter. She asked, Sect Master, and the others have already gone to the other sects to help. You didn't go with them. Do you have any plans? I'm going to save Aunt Fei first. If I don't save her, I won't be able to rest easy. Night Sorrow explained his plans. In the blink of an eye, many years had passed since Wu Lingfei had been captured. He had ascended to the middle high god level. It was time to move. Is there any news from Senior Tianqing? Sikong Chiyu continued. No, but I have a way to contact her. As long as I reach the Purple Mansion Divine Lord, I should be able to find Senior Tianqing. Night Sorrow looked at his wives and said, This matter isn't easy to handle. It might take some time. Take good care of yourselves. You've only been back for a few days and you're leaving again. Aoi was a little sad to hear Night Sorrow's words. Night Sorrow felt a little upset when he saw Aoi's expression. If nothing unexpected happened, after he became the Divine King, he would follow Paragon Phoenix ancestor to the Eternal Supreme Realm. At that time, who knew how long it would take for him to return and reunite with his family? Datira chuckled when he saw the tense atmosphere. We're going to save Aunt Fei anyway. A day or two won't make much of a difference. We've all been separated for some time, but let's accompany our husband tonight. Bah! Yang Lei immediately snorted when she heard Datira's words. But then she said, But little 13's abilities are indeed getting stronger and stronger. I'm sure Sister Jingyin won't be able to satisfy him. Let's do as Aoyuo says. Haha, that's not a good idea, is it? Night Sorrow refused on the surface, but he was inwardly overjoyed. After being tortured by Mu Baiyu, he didn't dare to go too far when he was with Jingyin. He truly did need to release himself. Look at you. You're saying no, but you're already grinning. Men really are lustful creatures. Chapter 2639. Haha, am I that lustful? Night Sorrow asked with a smile. He felt that he had hidden it well and shouldn't be seen through. However, his wives knew their husband very well, and began to mock him one after another. But after that, they felt sorry for Yi Shang, who had fought so hard. so they did everything they could to let him enjoy the treatment of an emperor. This drawn-out war lasted for an entire 7 days. In fact, Knight Sorrow felt that he could still fight. But on this day, Long Tianqing unexpectedly came to Tianyun's school. Hearing the news of Senior Long Tianqing's arrival, Knight Sorrow and his wives quickly got out of their ridiculous state. Sikong Chuyu and the others wanted to get up and greet Long Tianqing, but their bodies couldn't take it anymore. In the end, only Lin Piaomiao, who had been treated by Long Tianqing, got up and accompanied Knight Sorrow to see Long Tianqing. Knight Sorrow brought Lin Piaomiao into Night Moon Peak's guest hall. He saw Long Tianqing sitting on a chair and drinking tea. He immediately greeted, "Senior Tianqing, you're here? How is God Jinyuan?" He cultivated the 33 Heavens Star Soul secret technique that you gave him. His soul has completely recovered. He's only missing his body. If he can get the Heavenly Phoenix's 1000 Transformations pill, he should be able to recover completely. Long Tianqing's face was filled with joy. She thought that God Jinyuan had died long ago. She didn't expect him to have a chance to recover completely. Hearing this, Knight Sorrow continued, "Senior Tianqing, I haven't found the recipe for the Heavenly Phoenix's 1000 Transformations pill. Currently, someone is helping to find clues. I believe that we will receive news soon. You and God Jinyuan don't have to rush. It's nothing. The most precious thing in the realm of gods is time, but also the least valuable thing. We can afford to wait." Long Tianqing nodded and looked at Knight Sorrow. "You've broken through to High God. Your aura is very strong. That's good. But you need to become stronger. Senior Tianqing, do you have something to say?" Knight Sorrow was puzzled. She mentioned his strength. Obviously, she had something to say. "Yes. This matter involves your concubine Wu," Long Tianqing confirmed. When they discovered that Wu Lingfei possessed the pure Ice Phoenix bloodline, they refused to release her no matter what. However, when I suggested that you and Lingyun should have a fair fight, they agreed. In Lingyun's opinion, it's impossible for you to catch up to him in terms of strength within a short period of time. That's why he agreed to the bet. Senior Tianqing's words just now mean that the current me is not his match? Knight Sorrow was elated to hear that Lingyun had agreed to the bet. Lingyun had always been a shadow in his heart, and he had to defeat him with his own hands. According to my judgment, even though you're very strong and are ranked 3rd on the upper god list, you shouldn't be Lingyun's opponent at the moment. Initially, he had not stood out too much on the god list, but after absorbing the essence of the firmament, his strength had soared by leaps and bounds. A few days ago, he even succeeded in challenging Yunzhe, who was ranked 1st on the divine list. Now that he has become a divine lord, his strength should be very powerful. Long Tianqing explained the ins and outs of the matter. In the end, the reason why Lingyun had become so strong was because he had plundered some of Knight Sorrow's luck and obtained the firmament's essence that originally belonged to him. No matter how strong he becomes, I will definitely take back what belongs to me with my own hands. Knight Sorrow's body was filled with a strong fighting spirit. "Listen to me first." Lingyun agreed to the bet, but he has another request. That is within 100 years, and you need to find the origin essence. Long Tianqing took a sip of tea and said, "Origin essence, what is that?" Knight Sorrow asked in confusion. He had read many books in the firmament, but he had never heard of something like the origin essence. From the name, you can tell that it has something to do with the firmament's essence. It is a kind of crystal formed by the firmament's essence. After countless years of baptism, it finally evolved into the most precious sovereign-level material in the firmament, the origin essence. Long Tianqing described the situation and said, "I've already helped you investigate it. Recently, an ancient world that only high gods can enter has been discovered in the god realm. There's the aura of origin essence in there. You can go there and look for opportunities to improve your strength. In my opinion, if you want to defeat Lingyun, you need to at least become a high god. After all, his current strength has already surpassed the Purple Mansion Divine Lords on the Divine Lord list." "Thank you, Senior Tianqing, for being so considerate of Knight Sorrow. Where is the ancient world you are talking about?" Knight Sorrow asked. Lingyun's request for the origin essence was clearly unfair, But for Wu Lingfei's safety, he did not hesitate to do his best to find it. Finding the origin essence for Ling Yin was not a big deal, as long as he could kill Ling Yin. The ancient world is under the rule of all heaven. I will take you there. However, you must be prepared. There are many dangers in the ancient world, and there may even be the existence of the divine king. Moreover, the high gods that the ruler's manners have never revealed themselves will all enter. After all, no one wants to miss out on a sovereign-level material. Long Tianqing explained to Yi Shang about the god realm's ranking list. In the eyes of some, the strongest high gods were the number 1 high gods, Yunzai, or number 2 high gods, Xianyuan Yufeng. In reality, they were very likely to be hidden talents of the ruler's manners. After all, there were no sovereigns in the firmament. The 7 sovereigns were the strongest forces in the firmament. Their foundation was far beyond the reach of the other forces in the firmament. Night Sorrow has also speculated about what Senior Tianqing said. In my opinion, the current high god list is indeed lacking in quality. When Night Sorrow was fighting against Wu Li, Xianyuan Changye, and the other high gods on the firmament god list, he was actually wondering if there were other hidden high gods in the firmament. Now that he had an answer, he was filled with a strong desire to fight. Your judgment is correct. Actually, it's not just the high gods list. Even the feather god list, which you once occupied first place, is the same. Long Tianqing continued. You should go say goodbye to your family. We will set off as soon as possible. Senior Tianqing, Night Sorrow has a request. Night Sorrow mentioned that Geng Chen's dantian had been destroyed, hoping that she could help. Long Tianqing pondered for a moment, then said, Then we will stay for 7 days. We will set off on time after 7 days. Night Sorrow thanks Senior Tianqing on behalf of my friend. Night Sorrow thanked her and immediately ordered someone to find Geng Chen. Under Long Tianqing's treatment, Geng Chen's dantian quickly recovered. After treating him, Long Tianqing brought Night Sorrow to the ancient world under the rule of all heaven. Night Sorrow was looking forward to this trip to the ancient world. Chapter 2640. Night Sorrow followed Long Tianqing to the ancient world of the all-heaven ruler's domain. This newly discovered ancient world was completely under the control of the all-heaven ruler's manor. Every high god who wanted to enter had to pay 300,000 deity crystals. This was a sky-high price for ordinary high gods. Fortunately, Night Sorrow had accumulated a lot of wealth. Although he was unhappy, he still paid 300,000 deity crystals. However, after Night Sorrow paid the deity crystals, he did not get the opportunity to enter the ancient world immediately. It turned out that the all-heaven ruler had ordered that the high gods of the all-heaven ruler's manor would be the first to explore the ancient world for a year before other high gods could enter. When Night Sorrow arrived, the high gods of the all-heaven ruler's domain had only been in for 7 months. He would have to wait for 5 months. Since we're already here, we might as well take things as they come. Find a city to settle down in and I'll go to Seaside City. After you come out of the ancient world, find me at Jinyuan's cave residence. Long Tianqing was already used to this kind of thing. She brought Night Sorrow to Wanlin City, the city closest to the ancient world. After helping Night Sorrow purchase a residence to rest in, she left for Seaside City. This courtyard is quite elegant. 5 months is just the right time to improve my strength. After setting up a formation array for the courtyard, Night Sorrow entered the spatial artifact to cultivate. After breaking through to the intermediate high god realm, he had yet to consolidate his cultivation. This was a good opportunity. Cultivation knew no time. In the blink of an eye, for months had passed in the divine realm. Night Sorrow, who had been cultivating in the clear sky pagoda, had spent 33 years. After so many years of consolidation, he had completely consolidated his intermediate high god realm, and was not far from becoming a high god. This kind of cultivation speed would be a fantasy for others, but Night Sorrow did not feel any discomfort. With the help of the power of virtue, he would not be stuck in a bottleneck during his cultivation. I wonder which high gods have come to the ancient world this time. It would be great if I could get some information. There was still 1 month before they entered the ancient world. Night Sorrow, who had finished his ascetic cultivation, had nothing to do, So he went to the city to look for information stores like the secret pavilion. Although he had found them, the results were not ideal. This was because the high gods who had come this time were rather mysterious. Some of them had not even fought in public. It could be said that this trip to the ancient world was a complete encounter. Coincidentally, Knight Sorrow met Morong Tsai of the Heavenly Immortal sect on the street. At this moment, Morong Tsai was walking with two male cultivators with very strong auras. These two were both high gods, but their strength was clearly above Morong Tsai's. Knight Sorrow could tell with a single glance that they were probably geniuses hidden by the sovereign's manor. Seeing Yi Shang on the street, Morong Kai was obviously pleasantly surprised. Her face bloomed with a happy smile. She took a few steps forward and greeted him. Yi Shang, I guessed that you would come, but I didn't expect to meet you here. Seeing Morong Kai greet a male cultivator so happily, the faces of the two male cultivators behind her darkened significantly. Clearly, the two of them were interested in Morong Kai. Knight Sorrow was also very happy to meet Morong Kai. He smiled and replied, "Meeting you here is truly a pleasant surprise." Knight Sorrow. Come, let me introduce you to these two senior brothers. Although the two of them are not on the god list, they have the strength to fight for first place. Morong Kai smiled and led Knight Sorrow to Shang Shiyuan and Zhu Qing. She introduced, "This is Knight Sorrow, and these are my senior brothers Shang Shiyuan and Zhu Qing." Greetings, senior brothers. Hearing the surname Shang Shiyuan, Knight Sorrow thought of Shang Shuyan and Sovereign Voiceless Sound. He very politely called them senior brothers. After all, Shang Shuyan had left a good impression on him, and Sovereign Voiceless Sound had helped him block Sovereign Dark Moon. This was a favor that Knight Sorrow would remember. "Senior brother? Who are you? Are you qualified to call me senior brother Shang Shiyuan?" However, hearing Knight Sorrow call him senior brother, Shang Shiyuan's tone was cold and disdainful. Zhu Qing didn't even speak. She just sneered, her eyes full of arrogance. "Senior brother Shang Shiyuan. What do you mean?" Seeing Shang Shiyuan and Zhu Qing acting so arrogantly, Morong Kai, who was originally smiling, immediately became gloomy. In her opinion, Knight Sorrow was one of her most important friends. Even Shang Shiyuan and Zhu Qing's status was inferior to his. "What do I mean? I, Shang Shiyuan, come from the Sovereign clan, and have the talent to challenge the first place on the god list. How can anyone call me senior brother?" Shang Shiyuan said coldly. He looked at Knight Sorrow and said, "For the sake of Kai, I will forgive your disrespect today." Scram. "Ha ha ha. Forgive my disrespect?" Knight Sorrow didn't get angry. Instead he laughed and asked, "You talk so big. Does Sovereign Clear Sound know?" Sovereign Clear Sound gave people an amiable feeling. He didn't expect her junior to talk so big. He was a little unhappy. "Sovereign Clear Sound is high and mighty. Is she someone you can call?" When Knight Sorrow said Sovereign Clear Sound's name, Shang Shiyuan's battle intent immediately rose. He looked like he wanted to kill someone. "No matter how strong you are, even if you are a sovereign, it's just a name. Why can't I call her that?" Even a clay figurine had a temper. Yishan was already enraged by Shang Suyuan. The seven sovereigns were indeed high and mighty and practically ruled the god realm. However, there was always someone stronger. To the god realm, the more important ones were the sovereigns who didn't leave their names behind but fought in the eternal supreme world. After experiencing the matter of sovereign ancestor Phoenix, Knight Sorrow was already used to facing sovereigns. "Bastard! You are treacherous. Sovereigns are high and mighty. You can't judge them." Shang Shiyuan shouted, and was about to attack. At this time, Morong Tsai stopped him and said, "Senior brother Shang Shiyuan, I don't know. You stayed in the family for too long and don't know how to interact. Or born in a sovereign family, you have a natural sense of superiority. But no matter what, today's matter is your fault. You need to apologize to Knight Sorrow." "You want me to apologize to him? It's already good that I didn't kill him." Shang Shiyuan looked at Morong Tsai with a trace of possessiveness. In fact, if not for her, although Shang Shiyuan was arrogant, he wouldn't go so far as to target Knight Sorrow. "If you say so, then there's no need for us to travel together." Shang Shuyuan's arrogant face made Morongtsai very angry. Her tone immediately became ice cold. I didn't hear wrong, right? So you're going to leave us two geniuses and travel together with him? This trash? Shang Shuyuan said with a look of disbelief. You're not afraid of dying in the ancient world. In my opinion, regardless of character or strength, Knight Sorrow is stronger than you two. If he's trash, then there's no need for you two to exist. In addition, he saved my life in the last 7-sec tournament. I trust him very much. Chapter 2641. 7-sect Grand Competition? That's just a game. It's limited to the Cloud Immortal Continent. There aren't many experts participating. Hearing Morongkai mention the 7-sect Grand Competition, Shang Shuyuan said disdainfully, If I was alive, Qing would have easily won the championship. It's not important whether he won the championship or not. What's important is a person's cultivation and character. Morongkai replied and continued. Knight Sorrow is the champion of the High God group in this 7-sect Grand Competition. I don't see him talking about it. This is a person's magnanimity. Morongkai, do you know what you're talking about? Have you been brainwashed by this guy? Zhu Qing, who hadn't spoken yet, said coldly. Do you know what kind of punishment people will receive for slandering the people of the dominant clans? Quickly apologized to senior brother Shang Su. In his eyes, the people of the dominant clans were high and mighty. No one could disrespect them. Although Zhu Qing was a bit stronger than Shang Shuyuan, she had always regarded him as the leader. I believe that Lord Qingyin isn't so narrow-minded. Morongkai snorted coldly and said. After all, she treated Knight Sorrow as an equal. Morongkai, I originally thought that you were a rare genius for cultivating to your current level in the Heavenly Immortal Sect. Now it seems that your brain isn't working well. Immediately take your lover and disappear in front of me. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Shang Shuyuan didn't believe that Lord Qingyin would treat Knight Sorrow as an equal, so he immediately berated her. Whose brain isn't working well? Hearing Shang Shuyuan use such words to attack Morongtsai, Yishang asked with a cold face. Oh, I wanted to spare your life, but I didn't expect that you would recklessly come forward. How could a piece of trash like you, who doesn't know when to advance or retreat, possibly obtain the appreciation of the Lord Sovereign and treat him as a peer? Shang Shuyuan coldly looked at Knight Sorrow and said, Recently, All Heaven Ruler ordered that no one is allowed to fight in the city. Since you're so arrogant, you won't refuse my challenge, right? In Shang Shuyuan's mind, as long as the opponent wasn't from the dominant clans, he wasn't afraid. Originally, I had a good impression of Shang Su family because of Lord Qingyin. I hope you're just a parasite in the family. If you want to fight, then I, Knight Sorrow, will accompany you. Just think of it as helping Hegemon Voiceless discipline her clansmen. The arrogance of the upper void energy made Knight Sorrow very unhappy. He had no reason to be afraid of cultivators of the same level. Seeing Knight Sorrow agree with Su Yuan, Morongtsai's face immediately changed. She said, Knight Sorrow, don't fight with him. He is a genius of the dominant family who relies on resources. If you hurt him, he might retaliate. She wasn't worried about Knight Sorrow's strength at all. It's fine. I believe that Hegemon Voiceless isn't such a person. Knight Sorrow said nonchalantly. Knight Sorrow had a very good impression of Ruler Voiceless sound. She didn't believe that she was an unreasonable person. Hegemon Clear Sound naturally wouldn't target you. However, it's inevitable that there will be parasites in the family. How good can a person who can raise Shang Shuyuan be? Morongkai transmitted her voice to Knight Sorrow. The dominant clans were invincible existences in the divine world. No one dared to offend them. Morongkai felt that if Knight Sorrow injured Shang Shuyuan, he might suffer a very serious blow. It's fine. As long as I stand on reason. I, Knight Sorrow, am not afraid of anyone targeting me. Knight Sorrow replied Morongkai. Then he looked at Shang Shuyuan and said, Let's go. For Morongtsai's sake, I won't kill you. However, a lesson is unavoidable. Don't even think about going to the ancient world this time. Shang Shuyuan's aura was relatively strong. He was even stronger than Wu Li, who Night Sorrow had defeated. No need to say more. Let's go, Night Sorrow said. Then he flew out of the city with Morong Kai, Shang Suyuan and Zhu Qing. When they arrived at a desolate mountain, Shang Suyuan said, "We are already outside the city. The Overlord of All Heaven's band does not include this place. Let's begin." "All right. Make your move." Night Sorrow floated in the air. He did not immediately take out the reincarnation heavenly halberd. He wanted to see Shang Suyuan's strength first. "You're just a middle-high god. Why are you pretending to be an expert?" Shang Suyuan looked at Night Sorrow with disdain and ridiculed. "You should make your move first. Otherwise, you might not have the chance to make your move." "All right. Let me see how strong the genius of the dominant clans is." Shang Suyuan's arrogance made Night Sorrow unhappy. He immediately took out the reincarnation heavenly halberd and activated the 33 Heavens battle secret technique. Night Sorrow raised his strength to the highest level. Then he condensed his divine origin energy and struck out the reincarnation strike. Just as Shang Suyuan was about to use his movement technique to dodge, Lin Yun executed the divine origin dragon lock array and imprisoned him within. Boom! Shang Suyuan, who had not reacted to what was going on, was struck by the reincarnation strike. Although he was protected by an extremely high-grade defensive robe and did not suffer any serious injuries, his strength dropped by 1 level. He fell from the half-step Divine Lord realm to the upper High God realm. "You're just SOO. Night Sorrow, who had succeeded in 1 strike, did not stop. He executed the Divine Origin Dragon Lock Array again and imprisoned Shang Su within. Then he executed the Raging Flames Demon. When the Raging Flames Demon attacked Shang Suyuan's Divine Soul, Night Sorrow did not stop and executed the Green Rock Soul-rending roar 3 times in a row, shaking Shang Suyuan's Divine Soul to the brink of collapse. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow did not stop. After the Divine Origin Dragon Lock Array was broken, he executed the Unstoppable Thunderbolt. Without waiting for Shang Suyuan to dodge, he executed the even more powerful Virtuous Dragon Lock Array. Shang Suyuan, who originally thought that he could easily break out of the sealed space, quickly realized that he could not break out of the various trapping arrays. He could only continue to be beaten. Now that things had developed to this point, he felt that his face was hurting terribly. He had just said that if Night Sorrow did not attack, he would not have the chance to attack. Now he was completely beaten up and had no strength to retaliate. This is a little lesson on behalf of ruler Qingyin. In the future, remember to keep a low profile when you roam the pugilistic world. The divine world is not the Shangsu family, nor is it a region ruled by Qingyin. Not everyone will give you face. After a series of storm-like attacks, Shang Suyuan was beaten to the point that he had no temper left. He wanted to retaliate, but he was powerless to do so. He felt extremely sullen in his heart. At this moment, Night Sorrow, who did not want to kill Shang Su, stopped and looked at him. "You despicable and shameless person. What ability do you have to use underhanded means to plot against me? If you have the ability, let's fight fair and square." Shang Suyuan, who had escaped from the sealed space, shouted indignantly. The battle just now was the most sullen battle in his life. There was no other battle. Chapter 2642. Although Shang Suyuan looked miserable, Night Sorrow had shown him mercy. If it wasn't for Dominator Qingyin, he would have killed him. Shang Suyuan might be strong and even have the strength to challenge the number 1 on the divine list, but he was definitely a flower cultivated in a greenhouse and lacked battle experience. Excuses. You are such a despicable person. You use shameless means and still act so righteously. You are really despicable. Shang Suyuan, who had no chance to retaliate at all, had an indignant look on his face as he chattered nonstop. Morong Tsai, who was standing at the side, couldn't stand it anymore. She said disdainfully, "If it wasn't for Night Sorrow showing mercy, you would have been killed. Can't you see the gap in strength? Do you think that after leaving the Shangsu family, your opponents will still be like those divine emperors in the family, sparing no effort to feed you?" Hearing this, Shang Suyuan was silent. At this time, Zhu Qing transmitted her voice. "Revenge is a dish best served cold. Let's not listen to their excuses. This night sorrow is just a little difficult to deal with because of the confinement array he uses. There is still a month before we enter the ancient world. As long as we find a way to break it before then, we can kill him the next time we meet him in the ancient world. That makes sense. Shang Suyuan responded. He looked at Night Sorrow and Murong Tsai and said, "Today's battle is my loss. Next time we meet, I will show you the gap in strength." I hope so. Night Sorrow knew that Shang Suyuan hadn't learned his lesson. However, he didn't have the mood to be entangled with him. After saying that, he flew back to the city with Murong Tsai. After arriving at the house, Murong Tsai looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Night Sorrow, how did you know about the ancient world? Ordinary people don't know about it. Did Dominator Qingyin tell you? Usually, only the big families with deep foundations or the families of the dominators know about it. A senior told me. I want to go in and find something." Night Sorrow explained but didn't mention Long Tianqing's name. Then, do you know who will be participating in this trip to the ancient world? Murong Kai continued to ask. After walking with Shang Suyuan and Zhu Qing, she understood some of the high deities of the ruling families. Hearing Murong Tsai's words, Night Sorrow, who had made a pot of tea for her, said, "I don't know anything. You know something about it?" Yes. He listened to the two of them talk about some things. Among them, Zhen Yidian of the Tianyi clan seemed to be very strong. He had once defeated Shang Suyuan. In addition, Chao Hualian of the Ruler's Manor, Luo Changtian of the All-Heaven Ruler's Manor, and Cheng Xiao of the Dark Moon Ruler's Manor are all said to be very powerful. Murong Tsai roughly explained the situation she knew. Other than these people, Yunzhe, who was ranked first on the divine list, and Xianyuan Yufeng, who was ranked second, were not to be underestimated. Furthermore, for this trip to the ancient world, the dragons and other ancient races had all sent their people. These ancient races had been passed down for countless reincarnations. It wasn't strange for them to have shocking high deity realm geniuses. After listening to Murong Tsai's narration, Night Sorrow said embarrassedly, "This time, because of me, you and the people of the ruler's manor got into an unpleasant situation. I'm really sorry. It's a good thing to be separated from them. You don't know that not only are they unruly and arrogant, but they also have some problems with their brains. I'm just traveling with them, but they treat me as their exclusive property. It's very uncomfortable," Murong Kai said somewhat angrily. "In that case, it's fine to offend them." Night Sorrow drank a mouthful of fragrant tea and said, "Do you have a certain understanding of this trip to the ancient world?" "I'm not sure. Perhaps only the people of the All-Heaven Ruler's Manor know what's inside," Murong Kai said truthfully. "The aura of the origin essence can't be concealed, so it should be inside. As for what kind of races live in the ancient world, and what kind of dangers it contains, I don't know. It seems that this trip is likely to contain many dangers. We have to make more preparations." Night Sorrow looked at her. "I will enter the spatial artifact for seclusion for a few days. You can find any room to rest." "Okay, go ahead. I also need to familiarize myself with a lost art," Murong Kai replied in a relaxed tone. "Okay, wait for me to come out. Let's enter the ancient world together," Night Sorrow said to Murong Kai before entering the spatial artifact to study the ruler's stone. He wanted to see if there was a way for the Samsara halberd to completely absorb it. The ruler's stone was very tyrannical. If it absorbed too much at once, the Samsara halberd could be completely destroyed. In the end, after spending about 3 years in the Clear Sky Pagoda, Night Sorrow successfully strengthened the Samsara halberd's tip with the ruler's stone. The Samsara halberd, which was already close to becoming a divine king divine artifact, had already absorbed a small amount of the ruler's stone's essence, and vaguely showed signs of a breakthrough. This was also one of the reasons why Night Sorrow didn't let it absorb anymore. He wasn't sure if he could withstand the thunder tribulation of a king divine artifact. After upgrading the Samsara halberd, there was still some time left. Night Sorrow simply studied a new spear art. Combining the unstoppable thunderbolt, the Samsara strike and the taboo spear, he created the taboo reincarnation spear, which contained the thunder attribute. The power of this move was much greater than the previous 3 spear arts. In addition, The Void Extreme Shadow Body had also improved. Night Sorrow was very satisfied with this. It's about time. Should we go to the entrance of the ancient world? Night Sorrow, who had walked out of the Clear Sky Pagoda, saw Morong Kai practicing her sword in the courtyard, and asked. Although Morong Kai's sword art looked very exquisite, it was obviously for recreational use. Obviously, she wasn't really studying the moves. Okay, let's go. Morong Kai, who had already familiarized herself with the moves, put away her short sword and left the courtyard side by side with Night Sorrow. When they arrived at the entrance of the ancient world, there were still 3 days left before the 1-year deadline agreed by the ruler of all heaven. At this time, more than 100 people had gathered at the entrance of the ancient world. These people were basically high gods. There were dozens of people whose auras had vaguely reached the level of no ruthlessness. It seems that this trip to the ancient world is the time when the elites of the high gods will really gather. Relatively speaking, the 7-sect grand competition is really not enough. Night Sorrow, who was using his divine soul power to check the cultivation of the people, secretly transmitted a message to Morong Kai. Among these people, Morong Kai, who was originally ranked in the top few of the high gods list, couldn't even enter the top 60. One could imagine how fierce the competition between the two of them would be. In fact, it wasn't just Night Sorrow who was using his divine soul power. Some other powerful high gods were also constantly checking the strength of others. Chapter 2643. Naturally, the most discussed ones were the high gods from the ruling families. Not only were they powerful, but they also had many life-saving methods that the other high gods didn't have. As for Night Sorrow, no one mentioned him. He and Morong Kai stood side by side at the entrance of the ancient world for a few days. The people of all heaven's rulers' district finally let the high gods in. This time, the high god assembly could finally begin. After entering the ancient world with everyone, Night Sorrow immediately felt the heat wave in front of him. He looked up and saw 3 suns hanging in the sky. This world is so hot. Morong Kai, who was beside Night Sorrow, also felt the heat. She even felt like she was floating in the heat wave. This place is not simple. The 3 suns in the sky are not simple, but my eyes can't see through them. Night Sorrow said to Morong Kai and then went into the ancient world with her. Morong Kai nodded and said, "This world is so hot that I feel uncomfortable." There were more than 100 high gods this time, so when they just entered the ancient world, it was a bit overcrowded. Moreover, the high gods of all heaven's rulers' manor should have already plundered the nearby areas, so there shouldn't be anything good. The two of them directly chose a direction with no one around, and kept moving forward. About a month later, Night Sorrow, who had opened the eye of the sea serpent dragon, found one of the original inhabitants of the ancient world on a barren mountain with sparse vegetation. Their figures were very similar to human cultivators, but they had 2 horns on their heads. They lived in a cave in the barren mountain, and wore animal skins around their waist. They looked somewhat primitive. They seemed to be the legendary horn race. Morong Kai, who was hiding in the array with Night Sorrow, explained according to some information she had seen. The horns of the horn race are very mysterious. They can sense the existence of heavenly treasures. It seems that this trip to the ancient world, it actually has such an effect. For them, this is not necessarily a good thing. The horn race had such a mysterious ability. If they were encountered by someone with evil intentions, the consequences could be imagined. Night Sorrow sighed with emotion. Morong Kai nodded and said, "Indeed. According to historical records, the fate of the horn race is generally very tragic. They are often captured to help in treasure hunting. I think this is one of the main reasons why they chose to avoid the world. Who would have thought that this ancient world would actually appear now? Let's avoid them and search for treasures of heaven and earth in other directions." As the Merit High God, Night Sorrow simply couldn't imprison the horn race and ask them to help find the treasure. Thus he spoke to Morong Kai. Morong Kai, who was also preparing to leave, sighed and said, "We can leave, but if the others find out, it will be hard to say. Can we find a way to help them? If the horn people only have these, it should not be difficult to help them. As long as I arrange a concealment formation, They will not be found by others. I just don't know if they will cooperate. Night Sorrow looked at the Horn clan not far away and didn't notice them at all. He did not use the power of his consciousness to investigate. He only estimated by sight that there should be thousands of people in the Horn clan nearby. Save as many as you see. Let's go and communicate with them, Morong Tsai said. Among the Horn people in front of them, the strongest was only at the monarch god level. They definitely couldn't resist the many geniuses of the divine world. Night Sorrow agreed and said, "All right, let's go out. If the situation is not right, you can enter my spatial artifact. I have the confidence to leave. Yeah, I am a woman, so it should be easier to communicate with them. You will be my backup," Morong Kai said and took the lead. When they were about 1,000 miles away from the Horn people, the two were discovered. "Who are you? What do you want?" Seeing Night Sorrow and Morong Kai appear, the dozen Horn people in the vicinity immediately became alert and questioned them. "We are cultivators from the divine world. We are here to remind you that this ancient world is no longer peaceful. Your Horn people have special abilities and may be targeted by vicious people. It's best to choose to avoid the world," Morong Kai said faintly. "Avoid the world? Are we not considered to be avoiding the world?" Hearing Morong Kai's words, a middle-aged man in the corner said with a gloomy face, "You two are also plotting against the Horn people, right?" "I disdain to do such a thing." Morong Kai was just about to open her mouth when Yi Xiang, who was using the power of virtue, released his own god domain and vast power of virtue. Currently, his power of virtue had already reached a certain level, giving people an extremely vigorous feeling. A man of virtue? Seeing the power of virtue on Night Sorrow's body, the middle-aged man who was questioning the two immediately became puzzled. He asked, "Where did you come from, Merit God? What is your purpose in coming here?" The Horn people subconsciously let down their guard against Night Sorrow, who had a body of virtue. "We entered this ancient world to find opportunities. There are more than 100 high gods. Although they are all high gods, their true strength is not inferior to divine monarchs." Night Sorrow explained and continued, "If there is no accident, your Horn people will encounter more divine world cultivators in the near future. The best thing to do is to temporarily hide and avoid the limelight." Merit God, more than 100 high gods. It seems that the forefathers' prophecy has come true. Hearing this, the middle-aged man from the Horn people muttered and introduced himself. "I am Jiao Hui. What is your name?" "I am Night Sorrow. This is my friend Morong Kai." Night Sorrow said and looked at Morong Kai. "According to the records of the clan, our Horn people may encounter a great disaster this time." Jiao Hui sighed and said, "Can the two of you come with us to the clan for a chat?" "Sure. How many people are there in your Horn people? Is your clan the only one in this ancient world?" Night Sorrow asked. If Morong Kai asked this question, she would probably not hide it, but she did not dislike it when he asked. "Our Horn people only have a few thousand people, all of whom live in this barren mountain." Jiao Hui explained the situation of the Horn people and continued, "As for this ancient world, there are dozens of clans, among which the Golden Crow clan is the strongest. Usually, everyone lives in peace. But this time, with so many divine world cultivators, a great battle is unavoidable. Your Horn people only have a few thousand people. I have a way to help you get through this crisis," Night Sorrow said as he walked with Jiao Hui to the Horn people tribe. Hearing this, Jiao Hui smiled and said, "The forefather once predicted this. I believe you. But the forefather also mentioned something else." Chapter 2644. Before the old ancestor left, he divined something. That is, the Merit God will appear, and the day our Horn clan will leave the Golden Crow world. Jiao Hui said excitedly. Their Horn clan had been silent for many years in the Golden Crow world, waiting for the old ancestor's prophecy to come true. "You said this place is called the Golden Crow world? The strongest clan in this ancient world is the Golden Crow clan?" Night Sorrow asked. He had heard of the Golden Crow clan, but he had never seen one that was especially strong. "Yes. I heard that the Golden Crow clan has the Divine King. The Divine King is the absolute king in this ancient world." Jiao Hui explained to Night Sorrow and continued. Night Sorrow, Merit God, why don't I bring you two to the clan and have a chat with the patriarch? I don't know much about some things. Okay. Bring me there. Night Sorrow answered and looked at Morong Tsai. Let's go together? Yes. Let's go. The Horn clan is very pitiful. Let's try our best to help them. Morong Tsai said emotionally. There were still sporadic members of the Horn clan in the divine world, but they were basically imprisoned as slaves to help people find treasures. Following Jiao Hui to the gathering place of the Horn clan, more than a dozen children of different heights gathered around curiously and asked Morong Tsai questions. They were not very interested in Night Sorrow. Seeing this, Jiao Hui smiled. Night Sorrow, Merit God, why don't you come with me to see the patriarch? Okay. Lead the way. Night Sorrow said. Then, under Jiao Hui's lead, he walked into a deep and ancient cave. In the deepest part of the cave, there was a spacious hall. A skinny old man with his eyes closed sat cross-legged on a stone platform in the center of the hall. Patriarch, this is Night Sorrow, Merit God. The person foretold by the old ancestor has appeared. The patriarch Jiao Kong seemed to have fallen into a deep sleep. Jiao Hui went forward and called out softly. Seeing that there was no effect, he stretched out his arms and shook. Cough, cough. After being shaken for a while, Jiao Kong slowly opened his heavy eyelids. When he saw Night Sorrow, his originally unfocused gaze immediately became clear. He stood up and said excitedly, Merit God! You have appeared, you have finally appeared. Greetings, clan leader. My name is Night Sorrow. I possess the power of merit. However, I am not a merit god, said Night Sorrow courteously. He felt a little strange being called the merit god. There's nothing wrong with it. Merit god, come with me. Jiao Kong, who had completely recovered, said something to Night Sorrow. He then looked at Jiao Hui and said, You can leave. You don't have the right to enter the place we are going. Yes, Lord Patriarch. Jiao Hui turned around and walked out. At this moment, Night Sorrow said, Jiao Hui, help me take care of my friend. Don't worry, Merit God. Jiao Hui said and left the cave. Under the lead of Jiao Kong, Night Sorrow walked through a secret passage in the deepest part of the cave, and into a long corridor covered with stone walls. These are the prophecies left behind by the patriarch. 2 of them have your image. Jiao Kong said as he brought Night Sorrow to a stone wall and pointed at the mural. It really is me. How is this possible? Looking at the mural, Night Sorrow said in disbelief. He cultivated the power of merit. Logically speaking, it should be impossible for him to be divined. At this moment, Night Sorrow suddenly recalled the words of the ancestor Phoenix and asked in shock. Could it be that the Horn race's patriarch has the body of a sovereign? 30,000 reincarnations ago, the patriarch cultivated to the sovereign level. The mural he left behind completely disappeared. After knowing that the patriarch left, some powerful races began to target the Horn race. The Horn race originally had 1 million people, but today, there are less than 10,000 of them left. Jiao Kong sighed and continued. If this continues, the Horn race will be completely wiped out in a few reincarnations. It really is a sovereign. It seems that the Horn race's sovereign patriarch is heading to the eternal sovereign world to fight. It turned out that the sovereign had divined some information about him. While Night Sorrow was shocked, he couldn't help but feel grief and indignation for the Horn race. A race that had given birth to a sovereign should have been endlessly prosperous, but the Horn race's sovereign went to the eternal sovereign world to fight for the divine realm. His race was almost targeted and exterminated. The patriarch didn't say where exactly he was going. However, in the prophecy he left behind, he asked the entire Horn race to follow you. When you are qualified to go there, we will follow you. Jiao Kong said with anticipation. Up until now, the Horn race didn't even have a divine king. There were only 3 or 4 divine lords. This was too pitiful for a race that had given birth to a sovereign. But I once heard a paragon say that the battles in the eternal paragon world are extremely cruel. Basically, only the divine king and above have the strength to fight. Even sovereigns aren't considered strong there. Only sovereigns can stand firm there. If the Horn race has declined like this, it will be difficult for you to go to the eternal sovereign world. Night Sorrow said worriedly. But the patriarch said that going to the eternal sovereign world is our race's only chance at survival. If we stay in the divine realm, we will be wiped out sooner or later. Jiao Kong sighed. All right. In that case, I will take you with me when I go. Knight Sorrow was deeply moved that a sovereign race had declined like this. He agreed without hesitation. From now on, the Horn race will follow the orders of the merit god of Knight Sorrow until we enter the eternal sovereign world. Jiao Kong suddenly bowed to Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow hurriedly helped him up and said, I originally wanted to set up a concealment formation for you to hide inside and wait for the Divine Realm's cultivators to leave. Since you want to come with me, why don't the entire race enter my spatial treasure? As long as nothing happens to me, the Horn race will be fine. Then I thanked the merit god of Knight Sorrow. Jiao Kong didn't have any objections. Then he looked at Yi Shang and said, Yi Shang merit god, the ancestor said that the murals he left behind would be very beneficial to cultivation if you studied them. You can put them in your spatial instrument. All right. Let me take a look at these stone carvings first. The murals in front of him had all been created by sovereigns. They still contain traces of their auras, making them very valuable to study. Knight Sorrow said this to Jiao Kong, then looked at the murals. Knight Sorrow quickly immersed himself in the murals. It was as if he had personally experienced one scene after another. He couldn't help but sigh at the power of a sovereign. Knight Sorrow, you finally made it here. Just as Knight Sorrow was looking at the last mural, an ancient voice suddenly rang out. A blurry figure appeared in the stone wall. Sovereign, are you the Horn race's sovereign? Chapter 2645. It's me. It's just me before I went to the eternal supreme world. The Horn clan's paragon didn't look much different from the other Horn clan members, but he gave off a very different feeling. Jiao Hui, Jiao Kong, and the others, not to mention their strength, their aura was very weak. The Horn clan's paragon gave off a peerless aura. Although he didn't show off, he had an invincible aura just by standing there. Paragon, do you have something to say to Knight Sorrow by leaving this phantom behind? Knight Sorrow looked at the Horn clan's paragon. The other party's face was very blurry, but his aura was peerless. He was in awe of the Horn clan's paragon and ancestor Phoenix, who fought in the eternal supreme world for the safety of the God realm. Because without these predecessors, the God realm and the 9 regions world might have been ruled by other regions long ago. There are some words, but not a lot. I left this phantom behind to see you in advance. The Horn clan's paragon said in a vicissitude voice, and continued, You are more outstanding than I imagined. Persevere on your own path. Lord Paragon, Knight Sorrow has found his own path, and will cultivate the power of merit to the end. Knight Sorrow nodded. The Horn clan's paragon's words made him even more determined to cultivate the power of merit. After I disappear, there will be 3 types of absolute arts left on this wall. As for how many you can comprehend, it will depend on your own comprehension. After the Horn clan's paragon said this, he said somewhat embarrassedly, The other thing is the recent calamity of the Horn clan. Lord Paragon, don't worry. I will be responsible for the safety of the Horn clan when you are fighting in the eternal supreme world. In fact, even if the Horn clan's paragon didn't appear, Knight Sorrow would still fool the Horn clan's safety. Sigh. This time, the calamity of the Horn clan will probably exceed your imagination. The Horn clan's paragon sighed. He felt a sense of helplessness. The foundation he left behind when he left back then had long been used up. Once the Horn clan was exposed, they would have no way to protect themselves. Knight Sorrow will do his best. Knight Sorrow solemnly promised. Although he can't completely guarantee the safety of the Horn people, he can guarantee that he will try his best to fool this group. With your words, I'm relieved. Back then, I predicted that you would come here to search for origin gold essence, so I prepared some for you. Just as the voice of the Horn clan's supreme being fell, a stone wall collapsed. Then a small square box emitting golden light floated out from within. It's actually origin essence. Knight Sorrow took the box and sensed a trace of aura coming from the box. He was sure that this was an item born from the origin. Origin Essence Gold is a necessary material to forge Dominator-level divine artifacts. You will definitely be able to use them in the future. Take good care of them. After the Horn Clan's supreme martial artist explained the matter of the Origin Essence Gold, he continued, compared to what you have obtained, you will definitely bear more. I hope that you will not give up on our clan so easily. Don't worry, Knight Sorrow has always been a man of his word. He said that he would do his best to protect the Horn people. Knight Sorrow promised again. At this time, the phantom of the Horn Clan's supreme being had clearly dimmed. He finally reminded, in this ancient world, don't be enemies with the Golden Crow clan. They are invincible. Yes, Lord Supreme Martial Artist, Knight Sorrow will remember these words. Do you have anything else to say? Seeing the phantom of the Horn Clan's supreme being getting weaker and weaker, Knight Sorrow quickly asked, in this world, it's easy to enter but hard to leave. Take care of yourself. The Horn Clan's supreme being sighed. Easy to enter but hard to leave? Ordinary ancient worlds can be entered and exited as long as one is in the modern world. Hearing the other party's reminder, Knight Sorrow thought doubtfully. Knight Sorrow merit God, not good. The existence of the Horn People tribe has been exposed. Some God Realm cultivators have already discovered this place. Several God Lords in the tribe are fighting together. After the phantom of the Horn Clan's supreme being disappeared, Knight Sorrow didn't have time to sigh at the contents of the stone wall before Jiao Hui came in to inform him. It turned out that not long after Knight Sorrow and Murong Tsai appeared, several God Realm cultivators also appeared here. After discovering the existence of the Horn People, and the entire tribe had so many people, how could they remain calm? They immediately took action and captured several members of the Horn People. The rest of the Horn People naturally resisted with all their strength, alarming the others. However, these God Realm cultivators were quite strong. The Horn People's God Lords were no match for them at all. Helplessly, Jiao Hui could only come in and invite Knight Sorrow. I didn't expect Lord Supreme Martial Artist's prophecy to come so quickly. Knight Sorrow sighed and looked at Jiao Hui. Where is the battle? Quickly bring me there. Knight Sorrow merit God, please follow me. This is urgent. I hope you can help our tribe to escape. If our Horn People is controlled by them, the consequences will be unimaginable. I'm afraid we will all become lowly slaves. Jiao Hui's face had a trace of pleading. The heavens had given them a unique talent, but it was also coveted by other races. Don't worry, I will do my best to help your Horn People escape. While speaking, Knight Sorrow asked Jiao Hui to speed up. Then he simply put him into a spatial artifact and brought him along. Not long after, Knight Sorrow left the cave and came to the Horn People tribe. At this moment, 5 God Realm cultivators were fighting with the Horn People. Although these 5 were God Realm cultivators, their strength was definitely stronger than the Horn People's God Lords. During the battle, there was a hint of ridicule. Among them, the other male cultivators used all kinds of dirty words when fighting with Murong Tsai. Bastard! Seeing this male cultivator's performance, Knight Sorrow immediately rebuked him. He said, "Who are you? And who are you?" The male cultivator who had just ridiculed Murong Tsai asked disdainfully. Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow did not mention the name of Tianyan School, as he did not want his sect to be implicated. Because this time, those who had entered the ancient world were either from the ruling families, or the God Realm cultivators of the major races. Oh. Knight Sorrow, the 3rd on the God Realm ranking? Very well, I Luo Changtian would like to learn from you. Luo Changtian's face had a hint of mockery. In reality, he did not take Knight Sorrow seriously at all. In his opinion, his strength was completely above the God Realm ranking. Even Yun Zhe, who was 1st on the God Realm ranking, was no match for him. Alright. Then as you wish. Sai, go help the others. Knight Sorrow opened the sea serpent eye and observed. Among the 5 God Realm cultivators, Luo Changtian was the strongest. He was prepared to attack him first. At this time, Murong Tsai reminded, he is Luo Changtian from the All-Heaven ruling residence that I told you about before. He is a true genius among the God Realm cultivators. You have to be careful. No worries. Even if I can't beat him now, I still have a backup plan. Chapter 2646. Luo Changtian was a powerful high god trained by the All-Heaven Sovereign Manor. He was much stronger than Wu Li, who Night Sorrow had fought before. In terms of strength alone, the mid-level high god Night Sorrow was at a disadvantage. Looks like I'll have to use my trump card. With Night Sorrow's participation, the horn race was immediately freed from the passive situation. Both sides were evenly matched, so he wasn't in a hurry. Instead, he focused on sensing the strength of the top high gods in the god world. You're pretty strong. You're stronger than I thought, but you're nothing in front of me. I'm done playing with you. I don't want other experts to appear and steal my opportunity. The entire horn race will become my slave. Luo Changtian let out an unbridled laugh as he unleashed an ultimate technique. Thousand Snake Heart Killing Palm. The power of this palm strike was extremely overbearing and vaguely carried a trace of viciousness. It gave people an extremely dangerous feeling. Facing this palm strike was like facing the tongue of a venomous snake. This palm is no small matter. Looks like I'll have to use my trump card too. Facing Luo Changtian's palm, Night Sorrow activated the 33 Heavens Battle Secret technique, instantly increasing his strength. Then he used the Forbidden Reincarnation Spear that he had just researched. The moment Night Sorrow used the Samsara Halberd and used the Forbidden Reincarnation Spear, Luo Changtian was stunned. The spear gave him too much of a shock. The explosive power of the tip of the spear especially made him tremble. What's going on? Luo Changtian, who thought he could kill Night Sorrow with a single palm, chose to retreat. He didn't dare to face the Samsara Halberd that had been strengthened by the Sovereign Stone. However, as he retreated, he summoned a 7-section whip. He was forced to use a divine weapon. Retreat? Can you retreat? Divine Origin Dragon Lock Formation. Bind him. Seeing that Luo Changtian had chosen to retreat, Night Sorrow immediately roared and unleashed the Divine Origin Dragon Lock spell, trapping Luo Changtian, who had summoned the 7-section whip, in a sealed space. Suddenly trapped in a sealed space, Luo Changtian, who had never seen such a way of fighting, was stunned for a moment. He didn't break out of the formation quickly. Therefore, Night Sorrow's taboo reincarnation spear forcefully blasted into the sealed space. Although Luo Changtian was a super genius nurtured by the All-Heaven Ruler's manor, he had countless treasures, be it defensive Dharma artifacts or offensive Dharma artifacts. They were the best among the high gods. However, how could it resist the heavenly Samsara Halberd that had been strengthened by the ruler's stone? It immediately shattered its divine domain and defensive magic robe. His entire body was blasted into a bloody mess, looking very miserable. The Forbidden Reincarnation Spear is indeed powerful. Seeing Luo Changtian's miserable state, Night Sorrow, who was extremely satisfied with the spear technique he had just researched, nodded his head. At the same time, the Forbidden Reincarnation Spear didn't stop there. It continued to attack Luo Changtian. Good. Very good. You have successfully angered me. Luo Changtian, who was being suppressed, was extremely frustrated. This was his first time out. Naturally, it was also his first time fighting someone outside the All-Heaven Ruler's manor. He didn't expect to be at a disadvantage immediately. So what if I angered you? If you don't take them away, I will kill all of you trash. Night Sorrow threatened furiously. Luo Changtian and the others didn't see the horn race as a fair race at all. They were extremely arrogant. I want to see how you will kill someone from the ruler's family. As he shouted, Luo Changtian opened up his divine domain again. He also took out a defensive magic robe of inferior quality and put it on. The long whip that was activated by Luo Changtian turned from its original white color to a blood red color. It looked a little evil. Even Night Sorrow felt a sense of danger. Not simple. This long whip is not simple. Night Sorrow immediately became alert. He felt that the offensive power of this 7-section whip was very likely comparable to the heavenly Samsara Halberd. You have a good eye. To tell you the truth, this is a divine weapon made from the Divine King's dragon bones and dragon tendons. Although it's not at the Divine King's level, its power is infinitely close. Luo Changtian's words carried a hint of arrogance. He roared crazily, 7 dragons God-slaying whip. Then he whipped out 7 terrifying whip scars. These scars looked like rainbows at first glance, but the aura was extremely bloody. These dragon bones and dragon tendons seemed to be wailing, giving off an extremely cruel feeling. Extremely evil. It's not worth mentioning. I don't believe that your Divine King's materials can compare to ruler's materials. As the Merit High God, Knight Sorrow hated this kind of evil aura. Facing Luo Changtian's 7 Dragons God-slaying whip, he used the Forbidden Reincarnation Spear again. Previously, Knight Sorrow used 70% of his strength. This time he went all out. He wanted to shatter the 7-section whip in Luo Changtian's hand. You're really confident. Seeing that Knight Sorrow chose to use the Reincarnation Heavenly Halberd against his 7-section whip, Luo Changtian was shocked. Luo Changtian's face showed that he had never seen the world. Boom. The 7-section whip and the Reincarnation Heavenly Halberd collided, instantly creating an earth-shattering sound. Although the 7-section whip didn't shatter after being hit by the Reincarnation Heavenly Halberd, visible cracks could be seen on it. The Reincarnation Heavenly Halberd that had been strengthened by the ruler's stone was simply too hard. Is this still a battle between high gods? The other people who were fighting unconsciously stopped and looked over when they heard this power. Seeing that Luo Changtian was at a disadvantage, and that even his trump card, the 7 Dragons God-slaying whip, had cracks on it, the people from the Luo Heaven Ruler's manor were so shocked that they couldn't close their mouths. This was because they knew that if Luo Changtian couldn't win with the 7 Dragons God-slaying whip, today's matter would be difficult to resolve. Now I'll give you all a chance. As long as you release all the captured members of the Horn race, I won't pursue your actions today. At this time Knight Sorrow, who had already communicated with Jiao Kong, looked at Luo Changtian and said this. Although the two of them had just started fighting, he could see from Luo Changtian's shocked expression that the 7 Dragons God-slaying whip was very likely his strongest move. If his strongest move was useless, then his other moves would be even more useless. Naive. You think you've got me, Luo Changtian, for sure? Luo Changtian sneered and took out a Divine King level talisman. No matter how strong you are, can you be stronger than the Divine King? I have 10 of these talismans. If you don't want to be killed, then get lost immediately and don't hinder me from capturing the Horn race. Luo Changtian, I didn't want to kill you, but now you're asking for it. If you have the ability, then try using the talisman. Facing Luo Changtian's threat, Knight Sorrow scolded coldly. The Divine King level talisman was too dangerous, and he couldn't help but want to kill. Chapter 2647. Haha. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I have a king-grade god talisman, and this ancient world is under my rule. What right do you have to challenge me? Luo Changtian said arrogantly. If Knight Sorrow had a king-grade god talisman, he might have some fear. However, he didn't. He didn't hide his arrogance at all. Use your king-grade god talisman if you dare. Knight Sorrow didn't take Luo Changtian's threat seriously. Although the king-grade god talisman was scary, he had a way to deal with it. As soon as he finished speaking, Yishan used the third move of the Green Rock Soul-Rending Roar to attack Luo Changtian's soul. You really dare to attack, you ignorant fool. Knight Sorrow's Green Rock Soul-Splitting Roar not only impacted Luo Changtian's soul, but the other four also felt like their souls were being torn apart. This enraged Luo Changtian. Originally, he thought that using the king-grade god talisman was very precious, and it was enough as a threat. However, Knight Sorrow didn't give him any face. Under such circumstances, Luo Changtian's face darkened as he roared. Since you want to die, then go to hell. I don't believe you can withstand a blow from the Divine King. At the same time, he activated the king-grade god talisman in his hand and prepared to throw it at Knight Sorrow. Seeing Luo Changtian activate the king-grade god talisman, Murong Kai-yi, Jiao Kong, Jiao Hui, and the others were all worried. They were afraid that Knight Sorrow would be killed by the Divine King in one blow. The few high gods who came with Luo Changtian had cruel smiles on their faces. In their opinion, the king-grade god talisman was something that high gods couldn't deal with. Dragon Locking Formation Rise. Just as Luo Changtian was about to use the king-grade god talisman, Knight Sorrow used the Divine Origin Dragon Locking Formation and the Virtuous Dragon Locking Formation. The two types of energy formed the dragon locking formation and locked Luo Changtian and the King Grade God Talisman in a small sealed space. It was obvious that Luo Changtian couldn't break the double dragon lock array with his own strength. He could use the King Grade God Talisman to destroy it, but the King Grade God Talisman was too powerful. It would definitely backfire on him. At that moment, Luo Changtian was stunned. He felt a strong sense of danger. This king-level divine talisman was originally his trump card, but at this moment, it had become a life-threatening talisman. What should we do? What should I do? Luo Changtian, who was in a complete panic, had already activated the King Grade Talisman. There was no way to stop him. Quick! Let's attack together and help senior brother Changtian break the formation. Seeing how awkward Luo Changtian was, the other four immediately wanted to help him break the formation. However, at this time, not only did Morong Kai-yi, Jiao Kong, and the others take action to stop them, even Night Sorrow joined the battle against them. With the addition of Night Sorrow, the situation quickly became one-sided. These four powerful high gods, who could even reach the top 3 of the divine ranking, were killed in a moment. At the same time, the King Grade God Talisman in the Dragon Lock Array completely exploded. Not only did it destroy the Virtuous Dragon Lock Array and the Divine Origin Dragon Lock Array, but it also severely injured Luo Changtian. Heaven's wrongs can be forgiven, but the wrongs you bring upon yourself are the hardest to bear. Looking at the dying Luo Changtian, Yishang coldly said with disdain. If Luo Changtian didn't want to use such underhanded methods, and relied on his strength to fight, he would still have a chance. But now, this ending was completely self-inflicted. The King Grade God Talisman is not bad. Looks like we have something to rely on for this trip to the ancient world. After Night Sorrow restrained Luo Changtian, he didn't immediately kill him. This was because he knew that the ancient world was in the territory ruled by all heaven. If he wanted to leave in the future, Luo Changtian would be of great help. After putting Luo Changtian into the spatial artifact, Night Sorrow took a look and found that most of his important items were destroyed. Only the other 9 King Grade God Talismans were almost intact. He kept 5 of them, gave 2 to Morong Kai-yi, and gave 1 each to Jiao Kong and Jiao Hui. Then he looked at Jiao Kong and said, "Patriarch Jiao Kong, I think your habitat has been exposed. Why don't you all enter my spatial artifact?" Yes. For the safety of the entire clan, this is the best choice. Jiao Kong sighed and summoned all of his clansmen into Night Sorrow's spatial artifact. Lord Sovereign left some things for us. I need to comprehend them before leaving, Night Sorrow explained. After getting Jiao Kong's approval, he immediately returned to the stone wall in the cave and started to comprehend the 3 stone carvings left behind by the Horned Sovereign. They were 3 types of lost skills. After a quick check, Night Sorrow found that these 3 lost skills belonged to the High God Grade, Divine Monarch Grade, and Divine King Grade. The deity-level technique was called the Hand of Cleaving Heaven and Earth, which sounded a little old-fashioned. Night Sorrow used a month to completely comprehend it. After using it, Night Sorrow found that this lost skill was even stronger than the forbidden reincarnation spear he used with the reincarnation, Heavenly Halberd. Why is this move stronger than the forbidden reincarnation spear? After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow didn't get an answer. He didn't think about it anymore and seriously studied the other 2 moves. Night Sorrow also didn't take long to completely comprehend the Divine Monarch Grade and Divine King Grade lost skills. However, with his current realm, he couldn't use them at all. The things left behind by the Sovereign are indeed different. After memorizing all 3 moves, Night Sorrow walked out of the cave with satisfaction. Seeing Night Sorrow appear, Morong Kai-yi, who was guarding outside the cave, smiled and asked, "Seems like the harvest is not bad?" "Yes, it's not bad. I learned a very powerful lost skill." Night Sorrow told the truth. Then he taught the Hand of Splitting Heaven and Earth to the Horn Clan. This was the lost skill left behind by the Horn Sovereign. He couldn't keep it for himself. However, the move that Night Sorrow thought was easy to learn stumped everyone in the Horn Clan. They studied it in the Clear Sky Pagoda for a long time, but still couldn't learn it. "Come and try. See if you can learn it. This move is very powerful." If you can learn it, it will be very helpful for your trip to the ancient world. Night Sorrow passed the lost skill to Murong Kai-e after getting the consent of the Horn clan's patriarch Jiao Kong. However, Murong Kai-e, who had a good comprehension ability, couldn't learn it either. Murong Kai-e, who couldn't learn it, said doubtfully, "This move seems simple, but I can't understand some of its essence. Is there some kind of restriction in learning this move?" "This move is called Hand of Splitting Heaven and Earth. I think it can only be learned by the creator of Splitting Heaven and Earth." Night Sorrow guessed. "Creator of Splitting Heaven and Earth? What's that?" Murong Kai-e asked confusedly. "The first cultivator to ascend to the divine world from a world in the lower realms is called the creator of Splitting Heaven and Earth. I was the first one to ascend from my world," Night Sorrow explained. He didn't hide this matter. There were many people who had ascended from the lower realms in the divine world. This wasn't a taboo. "It seems that your foundation is deep. It's related to the accumulation of the lower realms." When Murong Kai-e heard Yishang reveal her secret, a smile appeared on her face. "It's true. I have received the care of the surplus origin of my world." Night Sorrow nodded and continued, "Since we have entered the Golden Crow ancient world, why don't we go and look for opportunities?" "Good. I also have the same idea," Murong Kai-e agreed. Chapter 2648. To be honest, in recent years, the Horn race's range of activity in the ancient Golden Crow world is very small. Therefore, although we have spirit horns that can sense natural treasures, we don't know where the opportunities are, Jiao Kong explained. "However, if you bring Jiao Ling with you, as long as you walk around the ancient Golden Crow world, you will be able to find opportunities. She is currently the one with the strongest perception in the Horn clan." As soon as Jiao Kong finished speaking, a skinny little girl appeared in front of Night Sorrow. This little girl was only 1.4 meters tall, but with the 2 horns on her head, she was about 1.6 meters tall. There was a hint of redness on her cheeks. This was not because she was shy, but because she was too timid. "If we bring Cao Ling with us, we won't be able to hide the pair of horns on her head. I'm afraid she will be coveted. If we don't let her out, we won't be able to sense natural treasures." After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow said, "How about this? As long as we meet people from the Golden Crow race, I will put Cao Ling into my spatial artifact. As for other high gods from the divine world, there is no need to do so." The Horn race supremacy had warned him not to have any conflicts with the Golden Crows here. As for the high gods from the divine world, although there were experts among them, Night Sorrow was not afraid. He had the ability to fight against those of the same level. Murong Tsai looked at Cao Ling and asked, "Is the Horn race really so magical?" "Of course. The reason why the Horn race was able to produce a supremacy was because of our powerful ability to find treasures," Jiao Kong said proudly. Actually, the Horn race had not lost their ability to find treasures. It was just that they no longer had the ability to compete for natural treasures, so they were declining. At this time, Jiao Hui said, "Ling, why don't you greet him? This is Night Sorrow Merit God, the benefactor who saved our race." "Night Sorrow Merit God, hello. I am Cao Ling, and I will help you find all natural treasures in the future." Hearing this, Cao Linger greeted him. "Just call me Big Brother Night Sorrow. Calling me Merit God is too awkward." Night Sorrow smiled and said. Then he took Cao Linger with him and walked with Murong Kai-e in the Golden Crow ancient world. During the journey, Night Sorrow kept his divine sense activated in case he encountered other people. They flew over the desolate mountain range for about 3 days. Cao Linger suddenly said, "Big Brother Night Sorrow, there seems to be something at the bottom of this mountain." "Below the mountain? Which direction?" Night Sorrow asked. He had already opened the clam dragon's eye and used the power of his soul, but he could not find anything. "It's right below here, about 100,000 kilometers away. I don't know exactly what it is." Cao Linger said softly with a hint of determination in her voice. 100,000 kilometers is not too deep. Let's try to break open this mountain." Night Sorrow did not hesitate. He took out the Samsara halberd and cut open the mountain below. Under his control, the momentum was not too big. When they dug to a depth of 50,000 kilometers, not only did Night Sorrow feel that there was something below, but even Moronkei also found some clues. Moronkei said with a smile, Sister Linger's perception is really strong. There really is a natural treasure. My perception is clearer. There seems to be a king-level divine vein below. The kind that can provide for the divine king's cultivation. Cao Linger said again. This time, her tone was more determined. King-level divine vein. If it's a king-level divine vein, it can at least provide for your cultivation until the divine monarch realm. Moronkei analyzed for Night Sorrow. Since it was Cao Linger who found it, she naturally would not ask for it. Maybe, but my cultivation is mainly based on the power of virtue. Divine veins can only play a supporting role. After we find it, we will share it with everyone here. If it was really a king-level divine vein, it could be stored in the Clear Sky Pagoda to provide for the cultivation of the entire Horn race. Night Sorrow did not mean to be stingy about this. No need, no need. Night Sorrow Merit God. You are the benefactor who saved our race. Any natural treasure Linger finds will belong to you alone. Jiao Kong, the patriarch of the Horn race, heard Night Sorrow's words from his spatial artifact and immediately declined. I don't lack cultivation resources. Just take it. Night Sorrow said without hesitation. In the future, you will follow me to the eternal supreme world. There are dangers everywhere. If you are too weak, you will only be a burden and will also disgrace the Horn race. I believe that this is not what you want to see. So before I become the Divine King, you must do your best to cultivate. Even if there are 1 or 2 Divine King, it will be fine. Also, Patriarch of the Horn race, you can call me Brother Night Sorrow. Don't call me anything else. Night Sorrow felt very awkward being called Merit God. He could not bear to hear it. Brother Night Sorrow, your words really make us feel ashamed. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Patriarch of the Horn race sighed. Ancestor is an invincible sovereign. Our appearance in the eternal supreme world is indeed a disgrace to him. Horn race, listen up. I now announce that when Brother Night Sorrow goes to the eternal supreme world, all those who have not cultivated to the divine monarch realm will stay in the divine world. How can we cultivate to the divine monarch realm? Most of the people of the Horn race had no interest or confidence in cultivation. In their opinion, they could never become a divine monarch or a divine king. Nothing is impossible. I am only a middle high god now. I am still very far away from the divine king. You have time to become a divine monarch realm, and I will spare no effort to provide you with cultivation resources. Night Sorrow promised confidently. Now that he had Cao Ling, by his side, he was very confident in obtaining resources. We are here. It is indeed a king-grade divine range. While Night Sorrow was communicating with the Horn race, Morong Tsai, who had been in charge of digging, suddenly said. Everyone looked over and saw a sparkling and translucent divine vein. It was like a real dragon, crawling on the ground. The divine spiritual chi was extremely dense. Just a whiff of it would make one feel refreshed, not to mention cultivating nearby. Good stuff. It is indeed good stuff. With it, you don't have to worry about cultivation resources for the Horn race for the time being. Such a big king-grade divine range can help you cultivate a divine king. The purity of this king-grade divine range was above Cao Ling-er's estimation. Feeling the majestic divine spiritual chi, Night Sorrow could not help but exclaim that Cao Ling-er was indeed extraordinary. The special ability of the Horn race was indeed worthy of its reputation. Such a big king-grade divine range. Can your spatial device store it? Murong Tsai stared at the king-grade divine range in front of her with a dumbfounded expression and asked. You can't store it. Why don't you give this king-grade divine range to me, Xianyuan Yufeng? At this moment, before Yishang could open his mouth to reply, a voice laced with mockery slowly spoke. Chapter 2649. No one knew where Xianyuan Yufeng came from. He had been ranked second on the god list for many years. Although Yunzhe, who was ranked first, was weaker every time he challenged him, his strength could not be underestimated. If not for accumulating his foundation, he could enter the divine sovereign realm at any time. Xianyuan Yufeng? How do you want us to give this divine vein to you? Night Sorrow, who could take it, was not in a hurry to make a move. He wanted to see what Xianyuan Yufeng had to say. Compared to everyone present, Night Sorrow was the calmest in front of this king-grade divine vein. Let's make a fair deal. I will give you 1,000,000 divine crystals, and you will give me this divine vein. Xianyuan Yufeng's eyebrows carried a trace of coldness, but he still smiled as he spoke to Yishang. His tone was slightly cold. What? 1,000,000 divine crystals? Even if you have 100 times more, it is not enough to exchange for this king-grade divine vein. Do you think we have not seen the world? Hearing Xianyuan Yufeng's words, before Yishang could speak, Murong Tsai took the initiative to question him. Haha. If I am not wrong, you are Night Sorrow and Murong Tsai, right? Before everyone entered the ancient Golden Crow realm, the god list had been updated. Xianyuan Yufeng had seen Night Sorrow on it. He had paid attention to Murong Tsai before. He was a lecherous person, and knew a lot about the female cultivators on the god list. It is us. So what? Murong Tsai felt Xianyuan Yufeng's invasive gaze, and replied coldly. Let me put it this way. Other than Yunzhe, who is stronger than me on the god list, the others are not worth mentioning. You have no idea how far Yunzhe and I have walked on this path. Although we are not as good as some of the hidden geniuses of the ruler's manor, you two are obviously not from the ruler's manor. Xianyuan Yufeng said with a fake smile. I've realized that you're not very logical when you speak. Why don't you just say that if we don't give you the divine vein, you will kill us? Night Sorrow, who was watching Xianyuan Yufeng, mocked. Yes, that is the reason. Can you get lost now? I am in a good mood after obtaining this divine vein. I'll let you off for now. The next time we meet, I won't be so courteous. Xianyuan Yufeng didn't look at Night Sorrow, but stared at Murong Tsai and said, disgusting. Being stared at by Xianyuan Yufeng like that, Murong Tsai felt like a piece of meat being stared at by a fly. Looks like keeping you alive is a disaster for the god realm. Originally, I thought that you were just greedy for the king-grade divine range. You don't deserve to die. Hearing Xianyuan Yufeng's words, Night Sorrow immediately had a murderous intent. He didn't want to leave any hidden dangers for Murong Tsai. You are just a middle-high deity. Defeating Wu Li back then was already a great stroke of luck. You dare to be so impudent in front of me, Xianyuan Yufeng. You really don't know the difference between life and death. Xianyuan Yufeng did not put Night Sorrow in his eyes at all. He sneered. Your trapping formation might be useful to others, but I, Xianyuan Yufeng, am not afraid at all. Without that, you're nothing. Is that so? Since you are so confident, then make your move. Night Sorrow knew that Xianyuan Yufeng had already investigated him. However, he now had a new trump card and was confident that he would win. I didn't want to make a move. I gave you a way out because I didn't want to alarm others. Now that you are courting death, I will quickly kill you in seconds. Killing intent immediately emerged from Xianyuan Yufeng's body. Murong Tsai's complexion changed as soon as he released his god domain. This kind of aura belonged to a monarch god. It was not something that an ordinary high deity could possess. Now you understand the difference in strength between us, right? Xianyuan Yufeng was not a monarch god, but had already mastered some of the abilities of a monarch god. This was the source of his confidence. He didn't believe that a middle-high deity like Night Sorrow could fight against him. I can see that there is a certain gap between you and me. Night Sorrow smiled and transmitted his voice to Murong Tsai. Enter my spatial tool, I will deal with him myself. This alright. You be careful. Murong Tsai knew that she was completely useless in front of Xianyuan Yufeng. She obediently entered the Haotian pagoda. At the same time, Night Sorrow also took Cao Ling into his pagoda. Haha. I have been paying attention to Murong Tsai. If I am not wrong, the one who was taken into your spatial tool was a member of the Horn clan, right? She was the one who discovered this king-level divine vein. Xianyuan Yufeng, who had noticed Cao Ling, said excitedly. Night Sorrow, I will give you a chance. Give this Horn clan girl to me. I will not take the king-level divine vein. Don't dream. You should think about what you should think before your divine soul is destroyed. There is not much time left for you. At this time, Night Sorrow's body also bloomed with a strong fighting intent. Xianyuan Yufeng not only coveted Morong Kai Yi's beauty, but also discovered the existence of Cao Ling. He was not prepared to let her live. Bastard. I give you face but you don't want it. You can't blame me for being ruthless. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Xianyuan Yufeng's face became completely gloomy. He took out a long sword made of several copper coins from his waist, and used a secret technique. Money asks the heavens. When Xianyuan Yufeng used this secret technique, countless copper coins immediately rushed towards Night Sorrow from all directions. These copper coins were all made of divine origin energy. Almost every one of them was close to the attack of a monarch god. The momentum was extremely vast. It contains a formation. It has some skill. Facing Xianyuan Yufeng's attack, Night Sorrow initially thought that it was unwise for the other party to use a group attack. But soon, he discovered that although Xianyuan Yufeng's move was a secret technique on the surface, it contained a formation. If not for the sea serpent's eye, Night Sorrow might not have been able to see the clues. If he was not careful, he would be trapped in the formation. Reincarnation strike, break for me. The essence of Xianyuan Yufeng's attack was on the formation. The attack power was not very strong. Night Sorrow used the reincarnation strike and disrupted the copper coins in the formation, easily breaking the move. I didn't expect you to have some ability to see through my money, asks the heaven's great formation. Xianyuan Yufeng was slightly surprised that the formation was broken. However, he did not take it seriously. He had absolute confidence in his own strength. He then used his second secret technique, Qian Kuan Phaseless Sword. This move was different from the money asks the heaven's great formation. It was a completely open attack. Forbidden Reincarnation Spear. Facing Xianyuan Yufeng's move, Night Sorrow used the Reincarnation Heavenly Halberd to use the strongest spear art he currently knew. Xianyuan Yufeng wanted to end the battle quickly, and used his most powerful attack. Night Sorrow, who had similar thoughts, also chose to do the same. Chapter 2650. Boom! The two of them clashed, and both of them retreated a certain distance. However, Night Sorrow had the upper hand in this large-scale attack. His ultimate technique was about the same as his opponent's. The Samsara halberd that had absorbed the essence of the ruler's stone was obviously of a higher grade than Xianyuan Yufeng's copper coin sword. The sharp tip of the spear directly shattered one of the copper coins on the sword. Bastard! My copper coin sword! You deserve to die. Xianyuan Yufeng's copper coin sword relied on the support of the 18 copper coins to unleash its great power. Now that one of the coins had been shattered just as the battle began, his heart was bleeding. Starry Secret Technique. Xianyuan Yufeng, who was completely enraged, immediately used a secret technique to raise his strength to the peak. Then he completely disrupted the copper coin sword and controlled the 17 copper coins to attack Night Sorrow. Looks like I overestimated you. Your strength is no match for Luo Changtian. Facing Xianyuan Yufeng's attack, Night Sorrow used the 33 Heavens secret technique, and used the third move of the Green Rock Soul-Splitting Roar. While shaking Xianyuan Yufeng's soul, his left hand controlled the Samsara halberd to unleash the Forbidden Reincarnation Spear. His right hand used the Splitting Heaven and Earth technique he learned from the Horn Race's sovereign. He had no intention of defending. Originally, when he saw Night Sorrow not defending against his 17 copper coins, Xianyuan Yufeng had a look of disdain. He felt that Night Sorrow was too arrogant. However, when Night Sorrow attacked, especially when he used the Splitting Heaven and Earth technique, Xianyuan Yufeng's expression completely changed. At this moment, he felt as if he was being attacked by the power of the origin. It was a feeling that was difficult to resist. It was as if he was facing the entire realm of the gods. How is this possible? How can there be such a powerful technique? Xianyuan Yufeng almost didn't dare to believe his own knowledge. He couldn't think of a way to defend against this technique. He didn't even use the trump card he kept to fight against the Divine Essence Dragon Lock formation. So the Splitting Heaven and Earth technique has such a special suppressive effect on cultivators. When Night Sorrow executed the hand of splitting heaven and earth, he felt that it was slightly stronger than the taboo reincarnation spear. However, when Xianyuan Yufeng executed it, he immediately felt that it was different. After understanding the true might of the hand of creation, Night Sorrow rejoiced. He felt even more confident about this trip to the ancient Golden Crow realm. At the same time, Xianyuan Yufeng, who was helpless against the splitting heaven and earth palm, had his defenses completely shattered. The heavenly Samsara halberd, which had unleashed the forbidden reincarnation spear, pierced Xianyuan Yufeng's dantian. I didn't expect you to be so strong. Even Yunzhe is no match for you. Xianyuan Yufeng, whose dantian had been pierced, looked completely disheartened. You're just an intermediate high god. If you advance to upper high god, you'll probably become the #1 high god in the divine realm. God realm. Hearing this word, Night Sorrow, who originally wanted to destroy Xianyuan Yufeng's soul, suddenly stopped. He said, "Originally, I wanted to destroy your divine soul, but if you promise to fight for the God realm in the future, I will leave you a way out and heal your dantian." Fight for the God realm? Do you want me to enter the ethereal mountain or the dark forest? Xianyuan Yufeng, who was bleeding from the corner of his mouth, looked as if he had nothing left to live for. What you have to face is far more terrifying than the extraterrestrial demons. Rather than dying immediately, I think you might be able to contribute to the God realm. Yishang didn't mention anything about the eternal supreme world, but he planned to bring Luo Changtian and Xianyuan Yufeng there in the future. He would let them fight and unleash their final potential. This way, they could contribute to the God realm. It was better than their souls being destroyed. Hehe. What could be more terrifying than having one's divine soul destroyed? Xianyuan Yufeng said with a bitter smile. Then he said, I can fight for the God realm, but for you alone, that's impossible. We the Xianyuan clan have our own dignity. I said that I'm not fighting for myself. I'm fighting for the entire God realm. Night Sorrow explained. Then he said, and I'm leaving the God realm to fight in another realm. Does the legendary eternal supreme world really exist? Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Xianyuan Yufeng's body shook. What? You've heard of the eternal supreme world? Night Sorrow looked at Xianyuan Yufeng in confusion. He did not expect him to say this name. Legend has it that the first patriarch of the Xianyuan clan not only achieved the position of sovereign, but also the position of supreme. In the end, he left the God realm and entered the eternal supreme world to fight. This matter has been passed down in the Xianyuan clan, but it has always been regarded as a legend. Xianyuan Yufeng explained. Then he continued. Now that you mention this matter, I assume you have some understanding of the eternal supreme world? I've already met 2 supreme beings. When I become the divine king, I will go to the eternal supreme world to fight for the God realm. Now the situation there is very serious. The God realm needs more people to stand up. Although Xianyuan Yufeng's character was not good, his ancestor had a supreme being. Night Sorrow's tone softened a lot. So the eternal supreme world really exists. What my ancestor said is true. Xianyuan Yufeng's body trembled slightly. He was digesting Night Sorrow's words. After a while, Xianyuan Yufeng bit his lip and said, Since 2 supreme beings have found you, it proves that you are the key to the future of the God realm. I, Xianyuan Yufeng, am willing to follow you. I don't need you to follow me. If you have the heart, do your best to improve your strength. When I become the divine king, I hope you can also become the divine king. If you are only a divine monarch, going to the eternal supreme world may be a disgrace to the wisdom of our ancestors. Night Sorrow looked at Xianyuan Yufeng. He cultivated the power of merit and could determine whether the other party was telling the truth or not. As long as my dantian recovers, I will immediately break through to the divine monarch realm. I must represent all of my clansmen and pay respects to our ancestors. Xianyuan Yufeng's brows showed a trace of determination. The eternal supreme world had completely aroused his fighting spirit. Good. After leaving the ancient Golden Crow world, I will take you to treat your dantian's injuries. Now, enter my spatial artifact. Yishang said to Xianyuan Yufeng, and then put him into his spatial Dharma artifact. Xianyuan Yufeng, who entered the spatial artifact, was completely stunned when he saw the thousands of clans and tribes. He knew that if the people of the God realm knew about this, Night Sorrow would be hunted down endlessly. The ancestor of the Horn clan is the same as your ancestor. They are both supreme beings and are currently fighting in the eternal supreme world. Protecting the Horn clan is something I promised the Horn clan's supremacy. Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Xianyuan Yufeng, and then said to the others in the spatial artifact, Xianyuan Yufeng's ancestor is very likely the same as the Horn clan's supremacy, and is fighting in the eternal supreme world. Let's turn hostility into friendship, and forget the unhappiness just now. So you are also a descendant of the supremacy. I hope you can change some of your bad habits in the future and not disgrace the supremacy ancestors. The patriarch, Jiao Kong, looked at Xianyuan Yufeng and said earnestly. He had seen Xianyuan Yufeng's performance in the spatial artifact just now. Yes, I, Xianyuan Yufeng, will definitely change my ways in the future. Xianyuan Yufeng replied with an awkward expression. These things are all in the past. Don't mention them in the future. I hope you remember what you said today. Night Sorrow said to Xianyuan Yufeng, and then used the Clear Sky Pagoda to put the entire King-grade Divine Range into it. Night Sorrow, who had put the King-grade Divine Range into the pagoda, did not have time to be happy when he saw a bright golden underground palace appear under the Divine Range. Chapter 2651. Brother Night Sorrow, can you let me go out and sense it? Cowling, who had been taken into the spatial magical tool, saw the dazzling underground palace appear and immediately said, Okay, come out. Night Sorrow responded and let the little girl out. After being let out, Cowling, sensed the underground palace from a close distance and judged. There seems to be a lot of weapons in this underground palace, countless weapons. In addition, there are some medicine gardens where spiritual herbs are planted. Weapons. Can you sense what grade of weapons they are? Cowling, didn't say divine weapons but weapons, which made Night Sorrow a little curious. They don't seem to have the same aura as divine weapons, but they are very powerful. Some of them are at the monarch level, and some are at the divine king level. Cowling, explained and continued. This underground palace doesn't seem to be something from the divine world. Its aura is somewhat different. So it's like this. Night Sorrow nodded and looked at Murong Kai. How about it? Shall we go in and check it out? Since we have encountered it, it's an opportunity. If we don't go in, then the trip to the Golden Crow ancient world will be too boring. Murong Kai's face revealed a trace of a smile. In fact, she had come here to look for opportunities. Now that she didn't get anything, how could she be satisfied? Okay. Since you want to go, we will go in now. However, you must pay attention to your safety. After Yi Shang said that, he took Murong Kai and Jiaoling, and rushed towards the underground palace to find a way to enter. However, before the three of them approached, the underground palace slowly rose from below and gradually floated in the air. Its golden appearance was as dazzling as the sun. This underground palace is floating in the air, so it will definitely attract other people's attention. Let's try to be one step faster. Night Sorrow explained and then took Murong Kai and Cao Linger to the sky. When they reached the height of the underground palace, they saw a platform and 3 entrances. Linger, can you sense what's inside each entrance? Night Sorrow, who was observing the 3 entrances, looked at Cao Ling, who had 2 horns on her head and asked. That's strange. I can still sense it from far away, but I can't sense it here. Cao Linger explained and continued. I can only sense a very powerful force inside, but I can't sense any heavenly materials or earthly treasures. What's going on? Are we still going in? Cao Linger's words made Murong Kai somewhat nervous. Enter. Opportunities are fleeting. If we find that something is wrong after we enter, we can just leave immediately. Night Sorrow said. The 2 of you enter my spatial artifact first. I'll let you out after you enter. We have to be on guard against unknown dangers. All right. Linger, let's enter the Clear Sky Pagoda. Murong Kai looked at the somewhat confused Cao Linger and entered the Clear Sky Pagoda side by side with her. As soon as they entered the clear sky pagoda, Muronkai said in surprise, "After collecting the king-level divine veins, the clear sky pagoda is already very suitable for cultivation." The divine spirit aura inside the clear sky pagoda was very rich. Moreover, it could accelerate and decelerate time by 100 times. Cultivating here would yield twice the result with half the effort. It was even better than the heritage of some big sections. Muronkai couldn't help but sigh with emotion. In the future, you can enter to cultivate at any time. Let's enter the underground palace to see the situation first. After collecting the king-level divine veins, Night Sorrow hadn't entered the clear sky pagoda to check. However, according to Muronkai's words, he judged that the clear sky pagoda wasn't simple. There were 3 entrances in front of them. Night Sorrow opened the sea serpent's eye to observe for a while. He found that each entrance contained vitality and death aura. It should be an opportunity and danger coexisting. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow entered the entrance closest to him. He thought that letting nature take its course might be the best choice. At the moment when Night Sorrow was about to enter, he heard the sound of something breaking through the air from afar. It turned out that 2 groups of people had arrived by flying magic tools. Without paying attention to them, Night Sorrow took the lead and walked into the entrance of the underground palace. After passing through a layer of membrane-like restriction, he found that he had arrived at a whole new world. The aura here was completely different from that of the Golden Crow ancient world. The divine spirit aura here was very thin. It was filled with another kind of aura that was almost the same. Is this the aura of a different world? Muronkai, who hurriedly walked out of the clear sky pagoda, immediately muttered doubtfully. Cao Linger said, "There should be heavenly treasures here. However, it seems to be different from the things in our God world." It is indeed a little different. I don't know if there are creatures from a different world inside. While speaking, Night Sorrow raised his head and used the sea serpent's eye to look into the distance. He found that the area in front of him was a dark brown land. The ground looked like it had been washed by the river countless times. However, there was not a single drop of water. It gave people a feeling of barrenness. As for creatures, he had not seen them yet. This place looks so barren. Does it really contain any heavenly treasures? Muronkai, who was also looking into the distance, asked doubtfully. She felt that this world gave people a feeling of desolation. It does look very barren. However, if we continue to go deeper, it should contain life. I can sense the aura of life. Cao Linger said with certainty. Then she looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Brother Night Sorrow, if we continue to go deeper, there seems to be some strange beasts with very ferocious auras. Can you sense their strength?" Night Sorrow asked. Linger has tried her best, but I can't tell. Cao Linger shook her head. However, Linger can still sense an unusual herb garden. At this time, Night Sorrow, who looked back, found that the door he had entered had disappeared. He immediately confirmed one thing. There was probably no way out in this world. Night Sorrow, who did not want to cause panic, continued to say, "In that case, let's continue. In a while, if there is danger, Linger, you enter the clear sky pagoda to hide. In addition, Kai, if we find good things again, you have the priority to take them." "How can I accept this? I can't do anything," Muronkai immediately retorted. "There is nothing to be embarrassed about. I have already obtained a king-level divine vein. Such a harvest would make even the divine king and the sovereign very happy. I am naturally satisfied," Night Sorrow said and walked in front. "The aura here is very strange. It should not belong to the divine world. You follow behind me and pay attention to your own safety." "Okay, I will pay attention." Walking here, Muronkai felt a little discouraged. If not for Night Sorrow, she would not have been able to move even an inch. Night Sorrow, who was walking in front, kept moving forward on the hard ground. After flying for about 200,000 li, he used the power of his god soul to sense a group of creatures from a different world. They had snake bodies and tridents in their hands. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference. as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.